Hey guys, Pat the Pauper here. Got the MTG Gaming Bob crew. MTG Gaming Matt and Bob himself. What up, guys?
Yo,
Great to see you. Hey, it seems as though we've got a whole lot to talk about. There's a bunch of great spoilers coming out, lots of discussion on things, all sorts of good stuff happening in the community. Have you guys been paying attention to any of these leaks coming out for Commander Legends?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call those spoilers. Those are straight up leaks, and I'm pretty intrigued. I don't know if you guys went through all the individual cards. There's what, about 60 of them, but I'd say it's certainly the biggest news. And they revealed two new things: a new card type and a new ability. I think they're called abilities, right? I don't know if it's called an ability with initiative.
Mechanic, maybe.
Okay, the new mechanic. The new mechanic initiative. Well, I guess background is almost like a new mechanic as well, right? It's a new card type and a new mechanic. And the best I can tell from the background, it's an enchantment, right? That's a kind of global effect that affects your commander. I don't know why it says each of your commanders, because generally you only play with one. It's rare you play with partners, but
okay, there's plenty.
I mean, they generally, even combined, don't seem to have the impact. They haven't made a pair of commanders that's as strong to me as a single commander, at least not for the idea to formulate decks. But that background essentially is like an ability. I don't know if it triggers when the background comes into play, or if you have multiples out there, you select which one you want to have take effect.
My thought on it is a lot like world enchantments from the past, where you would only get one that could ever be around at a time. So my expectation, my game theory on this one is that background is going to be individual for your commander, and you could only have one at the same time. But you'd probably be able to choose from whatever pool of color backgrounds that you have. That's my guess on it, at least.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it feels like even if it's in play, that it's not active. Like you can only have one active at a time. So I wonder how they're planning on tracking that.
Oh wow,
we got Artie Coy in the house. We've got Twiddler in the house. Brian Giles. Thanks everybody for coming. But it's kind of neat with these leaks, I guess you could say. I honestly, my first impression, just to give you my overall, it feels stronger so far than Capenna, just initially, but still weaker than Commander Legends 1.
And Matt, have you been checking out any of those spoilers? Anything that's jumped out for you there? Anything special you want to talk about before we look at some of these possible cards?
I thought it was a choice that they made. I mean, I don't know if it's a good or a bad choice. I liked some of them, but they went back to the stuff from the Commander Legends first one, where they have like the page texture, the parchment texture backgrounds on some of the cards. I thought that was a strange choice, considering it didn't go over very well for a lot of people.
Not Commander Legends 1. That's from AFR.
I'm sorry.
You're talking about the showcase. Yeah, we knew they were coming out with the showcase art for a while. I'm definitely not a fan, not digging that at all.
I'm just surprised they went with that choice for this. It's almost like they're just like, you know what? It's really cheap to do this, so let's just do it. I don't know. They make a lot of weird choices lately, because these things certainly didn't go over very well for a lot of people, and all of a sudden they're just doing it again. What? Like, why?
I think it comes down to a lot of the way that they design the product itself. From everything I've seen, when Gavin Verhey and some of the other guys, Blake, when they talk about the production cycle, how long ahead that they're designing cards and sets, I think that they had planned for a better reception in the Adventures Forgotten Realms rule book frames, I believe is what they called that showcase style. I didn't like it. I think a lot of people were pretty sour on it. Across the board. Bob, are you happy to see that again, or is that a bit of a disappointment?
That's a big disappointment. It's a big letdown. I'd honestly rather just, don't have the showcase, increase the number. I know people are complaining about the foil etched because they talk about the darkness. I mean, I'm sure there's got to be a way that they can tweak the apparent darkness, change some contrast settings, some gamma. That's something they can do to fix it. I feel like they're going with that foil etched in an attempt to fix the pringling that's happening. And indeed, we're going to see foil etched again. You could see it in the the leaked cards. There's some foil etched there. But there are some positive things as we go through this that I did want to point out. So, you know, I'm normally, I guess, a little more on the sour side of many of the things and decisions that they're making over at WotC. I think that's no secret. I'm generally not a Mr. Poopy Pants, but you know, I feel like I want to say the things that people are thinking out there rather than just bandwagoneering and let's go WotC and this is always great. That's certainly not a way for us to get, you know, shit fixed, so to speak. So, both some good and some bad. I agree with Matt. That's one of my bigger stinky points about Commander Legends 2 is I hate that showcase art, and they've shown us that they can do much better, like with Ikoria and Throne of Eldraine. Even Kamigawa, I like that soft glow look on most of the cards. Though I also like the anime. I think that's something that they need to dig into a little more. Maybe even make special cards, the anime cards.
I think I was a little surprised to see that when we got the original Adventures in Forgotten Realms with the dungeon mechanic, that there were so few of them as a selection, and they seemed underpowered, even with the adventure mechanic to be able to push into them a bit further. And Brian, seeing those come up again in this new set, in case these are real cards, from what I'm hearing is that it's going to be a rather limited selection, if any edition, in these dungeon cards. So even if they're really pushing that mechanic, much like the party mechanic from Zendikar Rising, I believe it was, just seemed like a big old flop. And to see that come back again, I'm not super pumped for it.
I don't know.
I think Adventure was pretty strong. Yeah, you got the stomping giant.
Oh, you mean
the TV? What's the fairy one that everybody loves? The guy that bounces shit and
the bounce
3/1 player. Yeah, I mean,
I say giant that touches a land that becomes a
beanstalk. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about Venture. Excuse me. I guess I've got the wrong.
Adventure is the one where like you can cast it as a sorcerer instant, as a spell, or then it becomes exile.
Yeah, no,
I enjoy that.
Very strong.
I think that looks pretty cool, especially with the concept of it being a bit of a throwback to D&D itself. I thought we were looking at Venture, like venture into the dungeon.
Actually, you know, you bring up a good point. Maybe it's a good time to bring up, if you can, the leaked cards. Because you're starting to teeter into the topic, the venture mechanic or the dungeon mechanic. If you want to bring that up, I'm actually going to give it a slight thumbs up on this. I think that they improved. It's not so much the mechanic that sucks. It's the dungeons that were just not as strong as needed to be for people to have that clunky sort of mechanic. So it's not so much. Oh, wow. Yeah, great. You can see, it looks like they're still kind of dark on the foil etched. That's actually one of my favorite cards. So you kind of jumped right to the head of the class there with the Robe.
I just started right up at the top.
Yeah, that Robe of the Arch Magi, I think that's some good stuff. I think
absolutely.
It's, you know, sort of some wizards tribal. I don't know that there's going to be a lot of warlocks or shamans being used. I think shaman might be a tribal, but I think wizards are probably more to choose from. Hi, Dave. I think that this is very good. The Robe of the Arch Magi. It's so far of the spoiled ones. It's one of the ones that I'm already leaning towards. Plus, it's only a 3 casting cost. I like that. It'll work on anything other than, you know, more than just warlocks and shamans and wizards. It's just it benefits those as being equipable for only one. But it's actually the dungeon card I wanted to take a look at.
Undercity.
I don't remember what it was called, but it's the actual dungeon. It was very difficult to read. The card quality, this is not us, folks. And let's just put the disclaimer out there. This could be a complete hoax. It's entirely possible. But yes. So difficult to read. But what it says is basically search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle. So while not quite ramp, it does help you curve out much easier with your first ability. And I think it's one of the best ones that you get on the first venturing step into a dungeon, and you can get it going very quickly. So I'm encouraged by what I see. this is the right direction. It would have been a lot better had it been actual ramp for any color. More so than just a basic land, but it really should have had it come into play tapped rather than just putting it in your hand. But it's the right direction.
I think that I might be the only one that actually plays a venture deck. I play Sephiroth of the Hidden Ways. He's a venture. I go through the dungeons quite a lot actually, and they're insane. They're free value basically with Sephiroth on the field. Now, go ahead.
I've played against 1 or 2 decks that was using these, and I always felt that for the work that they had to go through to get cards to push them further into the dungeon, that it never really seemed worthwhile. Just a small ad, but I do think this is probably the most worthwhile of the dungeons so far. Again, disclaimer: if this is a real card, it seems as though this is probably one of the most powerful and worthwhile venture dungeon cards.
Now, the only problem that I see is that there's a stipulation up top. You can't enter this dungeon unless you venture from Undercity. I think it's either from or into, but it wouldn't make sense saying you couldn't venture into Undercity if you haven't ventured into Undercity. So
what does that even mean?
I don't know. How do you venture from the Undercity? There must be. You can't enter this dungeon unless you venture something Undercity. It looks like from or into, but that wouldn't make any sense.
But let's just say that a lot of the people who are out there were talking about more dungeon support, and this if this is legit, like we keep saying, we don't have to keep saying that. That's the disclaimer. This may be completely a fanboy thing going on, but assuming that all of these are legit, then they're giving more dungeon support, which I was not really in favor of. I think it's kind of a slow mechanic, but the more I think about it, I like it, with the exception that there's no interaction that you can do as an opponent against a dungeon. Like, there should be a way for you to send them back to the beginning of the dungeon, right? There should be some interaction with your opponents.
Yeah,
maybe with the lack of power in the dungeon mechanic itself, maybe it's not even worthwhile to push against someone. I mean,
I'm just saying if they're going to make them stronger, right? But they don't make a way to interact with it. It's sort of like the they're not tokens, damn it, like the emblems, right? When you can't interact with an emblem, right? I don't like if they make something in the game. I don't like the difficulty with which planeswalkers are, kind of hard to interact with. So if they're going to put something out there and they're going to make it a juicy, worthwhile mechanic, if they're going to build on dungeon making and they're going to make it a better mechanic, then they better make a way for people to have some sort of interaction with it.
I think the problem with that is that it's such a small percentage of people that are actually going to venture, unless they make it so good that everybody just does it. Like right now, it would never be worth it in your 99 to ever play prevent somebody from going through the dungeons card. It'd be such a dead card for 99% of the game. So that would suck. Unless it was like a modal card where it's like on the back, there's like, reset somebody's dungeon. I don't know.
Well, all I'm saying is that whenever you introduce a mechanic, you need to have a counter mechanic. There's always needs to be a punch counter punch, because they're going to come up with infinite loops. They're going to come up with some sort of thing that breaks the game with dungeon mechanics. And if you have no ability to interact with it, then we end up in the stupid lockout, sort of Jace the Mind Sculptor type, watching people diddle themselves playing Magic while you're sitting across the table going, I'm going to order a pizza.
I'm definitely with you on the Robe of the Arch Magi, though, Bob. I think instantly, the moment I saw this card, this was probably in the top tier of these cards we saw out of here. This looks like it might be in the commander slot. Not quite sure if they're denoting a different kind of symbol there, but instantly saw this going in at least 2, maybe 3 decks I'm playing already. So
no, that's the symbol for the set. That's the set symbol. That's the regular set symbol, not the commander decks that they're going to have.
It's just dark.
Yeah, they are dark. The quality's crappy. That's not us, but it's again, like I said, I'm a little hesitant for them to come up with a way to have a mechanic in the game that's non-interactable from
Mm.
an opposition standpoint, right? If there's a creature, there needs to be a creature kill. If there's a planeswalker, there needs to be a planeswalker kill. If there's a spell, there needs to be a spell cancel, counterspell, interrupt. That's what really makes the Boseiju so good in that land cycle is it's super hard to interact with channel.
Mm-hmm.
And emblems, that's another thing. Hard to get off the table once they hit.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely. No, that's a great point. You really can't mess with those, and they stay, they're incredibly powerful mechanics. If an emblem ever really hits the table, it's pretty much end game area.
Can you bring up that comment from RD Coy there? I think it's a great one for us to address.
What's that?
From RD Coy, his question there.
When I'm sharing screen like this, I can't see the YouTube stuff.
I don't have the ability to make it flash.
Do the spoilers for upcoming sets sway your opinions on how the set will be received by the masses? Well, I will say one thing to clarify this. These aren't spoilers. These are actual leaks. These are people that have signed an NDA with Wizards or WotC, and they have the same people, but with them, and they're supposed to not show any of these.
Yeah, this is not supposed to be here.
Most of these cards, all the ones that are like a picture of some dude holding it, they broke NDA, and they're just sharing this for whatever reason. This
From
is probably
what I understand, I guess the story is that an employee, someone who had access to a facility that housed these, took a collector's box and handed it off to someone else. The person who had opened them and put these up on, I believe it was TikTok originally.
Yeah, it looks phone. Well, some of the screenshots are from a phone.
Yeah, it seems the large majority of them are.
It seems like if it was something to that degree, they would probably have taken a little better time and care. This is like somebody got something in the bathroom at work, went, oh shit, let me get a shot of these, because they have to turn the cards back in.
Like a play tester of sorts or something.
But you did pass up something, and tinfoil hat Bob's coming out. Actually, right there will work. Down one. So we're gonna go with that one.
We'll start in on it.
To answer the question for RD Coy, from my perspective, yes, of course it sways the opinion of the buying public. At least initially, right? People are going to get these cards, and what it would affect the most will be pre-orders. So it can affect the pre-order price of things. It could potentially affect the order of the one and done print runs. Eventually, though, being that these things are in print for 1 to 2 years, people will figure out whether or not these are good cards. And as the public figures out whether or not the cards are good and drives up the general, what they call EV of a box, and an EV is the estimated value of the cards inside the box should you crack it open. What should you expect given the secondary market prices? So it's hard to affect EV by just showing what is there, right? Other things can affect box prices based on a multitude of factors. Generally not going to be so much YouTube influencers, because you can't buy all of us off, so to speak. So people are going to figure out if a set's good or bad. And sometimes it'll catch you by surprise a little bit, whether a set is better or worse. But generally the box prices are affected by two main factors. Number one, scarcity. I think scarcity has more effect on pricing than how good the actual product itself is, right? Scarcity can make something valuable. They really shouldn't be that valuable. Let's just look at Viscera Seer with the backwards serialized numbers on them, or the Hidegetsu Neon Ink card. I think all of us can universally agree it's a pretty shitty card, but it's one of the most expensive cards printed in years. So scarcity, number one, will cause prices to go up or down. So if they release some sort of statement that it's a limited print run, the factory caught on fire, and so they only have so many, or half their stock burned up and they're not going to reprint it, that it goes out of print early. Those are the type of things that will affect box prices a little bit more. The second thing that will affect it for things like Modern Horizons 2 is how much juice is in the box, meaning how well are they liked, how much are they played, how prolific are they, and that can't really be determined right from the rip. That's something that generally has to be played out. You can kind of think that you know how strong cards are in a set, but oftentimes they'll come out and they're much stronger than you expected or much worse than you expected. So that will remain to be seen. So how much impact does the leak or spoiler have on box prices? I don't think a lot ultimately, but it can affect pre-order numbers and prices and potentially the limited print run stuff.
I'm under the thought. I don't know. This is also tinfoil hat, I guess. A lot of times spoilers are caused on purpose to create hype, in my opinion.
No doubt.
I think if anything, as long as the cards are good, which some of them are, I think that it will cause hype and it'll make the set become like people are gonna go, oh my god, everybody's gonna be talking about, oh my god, there's 60 cards leaked from blah 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 blah. So it's gonna cause so much, it's gonna cause a ripple, and I think this is self-induced. I think they, tinfoil hat, but I think they did this on purpose.
I wouldn't be surprised, someone gets spotted playing, some new video game on a subway or something like that, with some fancy new phone, maybe instead shows off some piece of gear that's high tech. And, that's the leak that they wanted. Sometimes you see a prototype car on streets, Tesla does that every once in a while with new models of vehicles. So it wouldn't be terribly surprising if this wasn't, from an outside source, if this was something, corporate kind of deal, leaking their own stuff.
So back to the cards though, before you skate away from it too fast, we're back to gates, right? So for those of you that have gates out there, or I can't remember all the gate effective cards. There's a lot of cards that I don't want to say a lot, but I don't remember what cycle it was in, maybe Gate Crash, where gates mattered. So start digging through the gates matters types of cards out there, which have, to do, and there's one of them spoiled here that has to do, and it's a beastie card if you guys know what I'm talking about, that has to do and cares about the number of gates. So it'll be important to get the gates, things that fetch gates, things that let you put any land type into play.
Circuitous routes and some nice tasty stuff like that.
Crop rotation, there are lots of cards out there. I don't even know I think 3 visits might be like basic land, but there's going to be a lot of different things that allow you, even channeling your own. No, I think that's basic land too. Anyways, whatever it is that allows you to go get lands or swap lands and get gates into play, looks like they're going to matter. They're bringing back the gates matter.
Oh, Pat, if you want, I have my screen to the point where you can actually see the cards on my cam, so you don't have to share yours, so you can actually read chat and stuff.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'll switch that out then.
If you switch back to the default, it actually should be fine enough to read for people. I don't know. If not, you can, if we're ever talking about a specific card, you can pull it up. As far as gates are concerned, at this point, anything that comes into play tapped as far as the land's concerned, I'm not playing. It has to be so good for me to play it as a land. I hate land tapped. Anything that comes into play tapped as a land, I just can't stand it.
There's lots of ways around it. You can get the was it the Signet?
Yeah, I don't think that they're a shabby land cycle. As someone who usually sticks to a pretty tight budget when designing a deck, usually staying to a $250 maximum budget. And a lot of times, if you want to stick in those really good game-winning cards, you have to make a little bit of an obeisance here and there. And honestly, I think for the power of what you're getting in a card like this, with Cliffgate here and even the thriving lands, that this is practically the same, where it's not terrible. You're getting 1 or 2 colors. You just have to pay for it when it comes in. So if anything, it's almost as good as like your snowlands, your things like some of the cliffside retreats, some stuff like that. I don't think this is too shabby.
Yeah, the Rug of Smothering. There we go. That's what we needed, another stacks piece. But I kind of dig it for the Storm players.
So, whenever
Interesting.
a player casts a spell, they lose 1 for each spell they've cast this turn. Well, I guess those green decks aren't going to be storming off with all that ramp and stuff.
Well, most storm decks are going to have access to a bounce or a burn, so I don't know how much it really does, unfortunately. Unless they're
No, I
locked
agree,
down
but
enough
it's
where
they still have to
Yeah.
answer it.
yeah,
I do like that they put it on a body at least, that it gives you a 1/1 flyer as well. So worst comes to worst, even if the little trickle of pinging damage isn't worth it, you've got at least a little chump of a block. So
It's 3 colorless. It's not like I stop you from storming, but it's a piece. It's a sort of stacksy piece to slow people down.
I'd like to see if the draft packs are in fact made so that we can do a draft with them again. If so, I could see this being a fun little situation.
They better. That's all I can say. There's the one that I think
Oh, that's my jam right there.
has
That
to do
9
with the
fingers keen.
gates.
Yeah.
9 fingers keen. A 4/4 for 4 with Magi and ward pay 9 life.
a pretty hefty award.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I'm
tough
digging
stuff
this.
right there. That's practically hexproof.
Oh, you can
So
put
if
a
you wanna
gate
read
card
it off
from on
since
the
you're-
battlefield. Whoa.
If you want to read that off, Pat, since you're much more silky smooth than me.
Oh shucks, I just can't quite see it that well.
That's all right, I got it. Whenever 9-finger keen and deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 9 cards of your library. You may put a gate card from among them onto the battlefield. Then, if you control 9 or more gates, put the rest into your hand. Otherwise, put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. Are there even
Draw
9
8?
gates? Like how many gates are there?
There's a lot.
There's probably plenty.
Plus,
Well, the
they
problem
just
is
added
you can
5
only
more.
play in Commander. You can only play those 3 colors, though.
Okay, but clearly they're
How many
making
gates
more
are going to be
gates.
in only those 3 colors?
They're going to make this possible to play.
Sure.
And I'm just saying, I think there's more gates than you would expect.
So it
But-
currently stands at 11 gate cards.
That's not enough.
But there's
No.
5 more they're introducing here.
Right. Hopefully
Mm.
they.
At
I
least.
mean, you'd have to run every single gate in the color combination and every gate they run, and then you're going to be so delayed because all your lands come into play tapped, and everybody else is just going to kill you before you get it to do anything. I don't know.
Well, we might see some reprintings of these other cards, some previous gates that were real tasty.
Maybe an enchantment or an
I'm not
artifact
saying-
that lets the gates come into play untapped.
I'm not saying this is an instant I win, but it's a solid new mechanic. There's nothing wrong with a 4/4 Magi. It's a rogue. So
That's just-
lots of different ways to make rogues unblockable. That I'm just saying, I think that's and you have the potential upside of drawing 9.
Oh, that's exactly what I'm thinking, especially with access to green and blue in its colors there. I think that would be a very fun commander.
I'm just saying, I'm okay with it. I get a thumbs up on it. It's better than what I've seen so far in most of New Capenna.
Agreed.
This is the initiative card that we were talking about earlier. And this is why I think that the Undercity dungeon might be a trap on it, because it says specifically whenever you take the initiative and at the beginning of your upkeep, venture into Undercity.
Oh, there
It's
we
the
go.
only one that's the only card I've ever seen that specifically targets a specific dungeon, and the other 3 dungeons don't have the stipulation you cannot venture into this dungeon unless you venture into the Undercity or whatever.
Well,
I think you actually have to have this tag.
Okay, so you can only get to the Undercity dungeons in
Through initiative.
Baldur's Gate dungeons.
Which kind of makes sense because the very first thing says something about a secret entrance, so maybe it's like there's going thematically.
So
But
you need
if
to have the initiative in order for other dungeon cards to matter.
I don't even know what the initiative is. Like I
That's
still
the
haven't seen
new
a card that
keyword on-
explains what initiative is.
There's a keyword on some of these that gives you initiative.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
It means it triggers initiative.
I believe it would be similar enough to like having Monarch,
Oh,
except
this isn't an actual card. It's like a token card?
Right.
yeah,
Just a
like
marker
that's-
saying you have initiative.
That makes more sense. Yeah, because there's no casting cost or anything. This does look more.
But it says you
token-ish.
take the initiative, so it sounds like only one person at the table.
It's like the monarch,
the
the initiative. I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then whenever one or more players creates, whenever one or more creatures a player controls deal combat damage to you, that player takes the initiative. So it's the same as monarch as far as how to take it. Okay.
Right. I think
when
it's
you take the initiative and at the beginning of your upkeep, venture into the Undercity. Okay. So yeah. So it sounds like unless they change it, venturing into the dungeon cannot go into the Undercity, which is a bit sad, but
not on its own. But
as
once
long as
you've
they
done
create
it,
cards, yeah. Once you're in it, you can venture standard. It seems
I
like.
guess that's interesting that they're kind of bringing in other mechanics, for the they're incorporating things that they've had already, the dungeon, and now being able to access it only with some of these new cards. It's interesting.
It's gonna bring up a bunch of different questions. Like once you complete the dungeon, do you have to gain the initiative again to recycle into an Undercity dungeon?
I think Traverse the Outlands is really good.
I was thinking about that one, and I think it's okay, but it's 5.
That's not the card I was looking. That's not the card I was.
Are you talking about? You're talking about the one that's the fog
There's
effect.
The fog. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
fog one that does the same thing.
Again, I think that's 5 as well, and it's like, oh,
yeah, but it's instant in green. Yeah. This
there you
card's
go.
great.
I think that's it right there.
Yeah, this card is
Pretty
good. The fog is going to be great.
In any Simic deck that runs any fogs, this is a guaranteed inclusion. Because not only do you fog, but you ramp. Like this card's insane.
Now imagine if you had Skewed Swarm on the battlefield when this thing pops.
Yeah, any kind. Yeah, any landfall decks. Sure.
Well, it's when they're attacking you.
Yeah.
So
sure.
That's nice. Unfortunately, you can't kind of fog yourself for that little bit of a trap, which would be phenomenal. But on the flip side, when you're playing against it, I had a buddy steal my Skewed Swarm today over our kitchen table, and goodness, I was real happy I exiled that thing. I know what he was about to do with my own card, but in a situation where you're playing against some go wide, getting beat up by a white weenie, this could certainly help you out.
The only thing I would say is this looks like it's going to be a rare, at least possibly a mythic, and that feels a little weak on the rare and mythic side. Feels like this should have been more like a uncommon card.
I think this thing's nuts.
I've got a pretty good feeling about this
$10 card, probably.
I mean, most of the time I get my face rolled in Commander. It's not by an army of things. It's usually by a couple of things, one or two things.
Well, my thought on it is if you get 2 creatures attacking you, just 2 simple creatures attacking you, and you pop that off, you're blocking, you're getting a fog effect and 2 ramp. So it seems fair, even if you're getting only on 2 creatures. Anything above that, right? And it seems rather.
But that's what I'm saying. It's got to have to be like. So you're going to sit there holding back 5 mana. I don't like holding back mana, especially in green. It's fairly aggressive. It's fairly cast all your mana. Now, if you've got something like Seedborn Muse in the play, or that blue-green guy that untaps all your. No, that's only blue-green and creatures. Anyway,
Vala that hasn't been popped off yet.
Just like blue makes a little more sense to sit back, even black, but green not quite as much. But speaking of blue-green, oh boy, did you guys read this one here?
Which one? There's 6 cards on the screen. Well, I guess there's only 3.
Doppelganger.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is a pretty tasty little card, actually, Bob. I thought the same thing when I saw this as well. That it could be pretty good.
Pretty good.
As a way to make.
Let's say somebody's working with. Let's just think about how this can be really stupid. Somebody's working with. Oh, I don't know. How about Skewed Swarm?
Yep. Or even a deck like my Kaikar deck.
Zombies.
Now, I don't want to attack with Kaikar.
A
lot of times you have a commander that you put out in the battlefield and they just kind of sit there. I don't ever attack with Omnath. That's kind of ridiculous. It's a 4/4. It's kind of spongy. I want it out on the battlefield. If I'm playing Kaikar, it's not supposed to attack. They just chill out and float around in the background. You do something like this, you choose what's getting attacked.
I mean,
you're getting the good stuff.
in blue, it's a cure against those spirit. It's a real good against token decks. Right? What insert X token here. None of them can
Especially
attack you.
if
The
you do a
flash
little bit
part
of
is really nice
triggering,
on it.
if you get kind of a teleportation circle on that, you can constantly get great ETB effects. You can choose the best one on the battlefield and constantly pick it off, push them around.
How about just drop Helm of the Host on this Joker? Slowly lock out the rest of the table.
Mm-hmm.
You know what Helm of the Host does?
Yeah, it creates a duplicate of the whatever it's attached to at the beginning of the combat, I believe.
So just keep copying this thing.
Yeah, Goad's a really strong mechanic. I didn't give it any kind of respect until I played against a Goad deck, and yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah. We had to
put it
talk
in a
about
blue
that
control deck now. You're going to put a copyable effect in a blue Goad deck. Woo! With control. Hello.
Yeah, Flash is nice. Plus, you do get a copy of whatever it is, so you can copy anything that's good and then make them lose their thing. And if you do target one of their commanders, I guess the cool thing about that is that even if their commander does attack in and die, if they replay it again and they don't deal with Mocking Doppelganger, it's still goaded because it seems to be like a global
target.
effect.
It doesn't say
it
target.
doesn't. It just says other.
So something that's hexproof, you can make a hexproof thingy.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a lot better than I initially
a solid card.
Oh yeah.
I'm like I said, I like this far more better than Capenna. This makes me more happy than Capenna. The rule book art does not make me happy at all, but I'm fine with I don't have as much aversion to the foil etched as some people do. I actually like foil etched. But because I know they're going to be not pringled. I don't really like that arcane signet. That art is kind of weak, I think, compared to other arcane signets that are out there. Sky Diamond is terrible art. Haven't really even read You Look Upon the Tarrasque. Have you guys looked at that one?
It looks really bad quality, but I'll pull it up and see if we can. So it looks like a 5-mana instant, run and hide, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to you and creatures you control this turn. Okay, the creatures you control this turn is nice. So it's a fog for you and your creatures. Then gather your courage. Target creature gets 5/5 until end of turn. Gains indestructible. All creatures your opponents control that are able to block it, block it. So it's got a lure and a fog for you and your creatures.
Instead of 5/5, that should have been Death Touch.
Menace and Death Touch.
Oh, for 5 mana. I mean,
again, that's another one that's like you got to hold up mana in green. I'm not a fan of holding up mana in green.
Yeah, but you're not just playing this in green. You're playing this in other colors too.
Oh, okay.
Like it's going to be Simic, or it's going to be. It's the biggest one. The best combination that I've actually played recently is Simic. Jesus, it's so good.
That's what people always say. Simic is just they get all the toys.
They get all the toys, man. Holy.
Oh yeah, I like Simic, and to be quite frank, let's expand that out a little bit. What when you add white to it? Damn it, what is that called? Like for Tulane.
Tulane.
What is white, green, blue? Damn it. Bant. Yeah. I like Bant. I like Dumbo here too. You guys didn't say anything about Dumbo.
Yeah. I haven't got to him yet. Lulu.
Not a straight rip off of Dumbo. Yeah. Hello, Disney.
Lulu, Loyal Holophant. 3 and a white, legendary creature, elephant angel with flying, unknown power and toughness. Flying at the beginning of your end step. If a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, put a 1/1 counter on each tapped creature you control, then untap them. Choose a background.
Wait, so
uncommon.
Wait, are backgrounds not wait, they are. They're mana.
So legendary enchantment background. It seems as though with this mechanic, my thought on it is that you're going to be able to choose from the pool of backgrounds available in your color scheme. So if this is your commander, you go ahead, slap this bad boy, his big flapping ears, crying. You're right, it is Dumbo. When he flies around and the crows are with him, you get to choose a background. So you choose something out of the white pile that you're playing and hopefully get some sort of interesting effect.
I mean, it's an interesting effect because something has to leave. Did you read that? It has to leave the battlefield. Yeah. Man, what a weird mechanic. But that's pretty strong if you can get it to trigger.
It's such a strange elephant angel. What a weird combination of creatures.
Elephangel.
Holophant.
Yeah, it's a decent card, but I think the Dumbo thing's gonna be the biggest meme on that Joker. I don't really like the Noble's Purse. Did you guys read that? It's like, eh. Oh no, this isn't the one. It's not the Noble's Purse. Where's the one where it's like it has to be 3 card types for it to trigger?
Oh.
Almost first ain't bad. 2 mana.
Yeah, it's
And
not
it's
terrible.
horrible.
It's not great. It's okay.
At least
Good
there's no
draft stuff.
activation cost. If there was mana attached to this, it'd be horrible.
Hmm.
But
It's
Let's
two
find
mana
out
for
what I'm talking about
activate
because it looks kind of good, but I don't know. It's got me. Swiftfoot Boots is always good. Like period. Just
that's not
end
bad.
story.
Seems like they'll always be around though.
Take the
Swiftfoot
initiative.
Boots?
Yeah.
I like it.
Because there's a lot
There
of
you go. That's
things
the one.
in
It's
there.
Baba Lasaga Night Witch.
Ooh.
It's like I'm not quite sure how to feel about this thing.
So it's in Golgari, 3/3, human warlock, sacrifice up to 3 permanents. If there were 3 or more card types among the sacrifice permanents, each opponent loses 3 life, you gain 3 life, you draw 3 cards. Wow.
So you never want to do it unless you can get at least 3 card types. But what does that mean? Like, let's say if you have an artifact creature, does that count as 2 card types? And what if it was a token? Does that count?
I think it'd have to be 3 individual card types. So like if it was an artifact creature, you'd have to pick whether it's an artifact or a creature, I think.
So you have to sacrifice 3.
So you have to
things. But
have
it says
like an
up to
artifact, a
3.
creature, and an enchantment. Or
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like for what you get, it's pretty strong.
strong.
No activation cost for it. It's just tap. I feel like in Golgari, this is great. There's so many ways to get things back from the graveyard in Golgari. Like, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I think it's going to be actually.
I'm scratching my head, but
I kind of dig it.
Sacking 3 permanents is just kind of oof.
Yeah, but you want to sometimes. Sometimes you want to sack permanents. You want to sack stuff. I think this is great. I think this is kind of
It's low costed.
Yeah, 3 mana, 3/3.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think it would make a fine commander itself.
Yeah.
Defined as card types currently is land, creature, artifact, enchantment, planeswalker, or non-permanent types, including instant and sorcery.
Right.
So
But what
you
I'm saying is,
just one.
first off, it has to be permanents. But if you have a multi-permanent, does that count as 2 of them? Like an enchantment creature, artifact creature?
Yeah. So like if you get rid of like,
Artifact
Lion Sash, that's 3 different things all at the same time.
Oh, that's a good point. It doesn't say. It says if there were 3 or more card types. It doesn't state cards.
All different cards.
So yeah,
Right.
if you sacrifice something that is an artifact creature land, that might just enable it right away.
Might count for all. Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm saying, it's just
If that's the case, it's insane.
Yeah. Anyways,
We'll have to see clarification on that.
Like
I like
I said,
that.
I don't still feel like this is anywhere close to Commander Legends 1. Like, just not. It's not. Sorry, this is not.
I'm digging it so far. There's a lot of good cards here.
There are a lot of good cards. I said it's a better set than New Capenna for sure, which I think is better than any of the 3 sets on the last half of last year. So I think it's something to look up to. I think that we're being fair with our assessment from what we see. None of us seem to be fans of the rulebook art. There are occasional ones that don't look bad, like that Imoen doesn't look terrible. I'm kind of feeling that vibe there with the foil one. It looks all right. But in general, I just don't like that treatment. But this is not as good yet. We don't see any lands yet that really tickle our fancy other than the Battle Bond lands, which was almost like they had to. It was almost a requirement. We should get into the adventure a little bit more here in a minute.
With that,
so I'm hesitantly optimistic. Would that be a fair assessment about Baldur's Gate?
It seems as though with this edition and possible cards, again, all leaks and such, so we don't really know how valid all these are, but I've got to say these seem like real cards. I think that this is starting to get me a bit more excited for it than I had been previously.
And I don't think we've seen any I can't tell if some of them are mythic, like the doppelganger. If that's mythic, that's disappointing. That's too
It looks
expensive.
mythic.
It does look like it is compared to the one
Compared to
below
like all
it.
the other, all the other ones. These all look rare. That looks.
But to be
mythic
fair,
me.
the quality's so bad on the pictures. Who
Yeah,
knows?
it's possible it's not.
But let's just say that it is mythic. I mean, I don't at mythic, I'm not as happy with it, but I think it's a strong card. I think it's going to see play in Commander if it's a real deal.
And did we look at that Furkrag Cunning Instigator, the legendary dragon there? The Is It colors?
I did look at that. We haven't talked about it, but I did look at it.
It's towards the bottom.
The bottom.
Yeah,
I stopped at this Gale. The Gale Waterdeep Prodigy is kind of nuts. It's like a Snapcaster Mage whenever you cast something.
Definitely some good-looking cards coming out.
I like the Wayfarer Baubles coming back. That's nice. Summon Undead's really nice. It's similar to the one Demonstrate card, which I think it's great. But I like the ability that you may mill cards to try to get more stuff in the graveyard. Nah,
and another 5, if I remember right.
It is weird. It's another 5 on reanimate, but
it's a 5 sorcery, right? It's like, eesh,
yeah,
that's steep. Is that strong enough on turn 5? I don't know.
Oh, more dice rolling. I like that.
I don't like dice rolling. It slows the game down even more.
Yeah, it's true though. Yeah.
The problem is it's only when it dies. Although if you roll a natural 20, draw 7 and lose 7 life. That's not bad at all.
Now, Matt and I were talking a bit earlier before the stream started up about the ability Myriad. Now, that Wizards of Thay with Myriad seems like that could be pretty interesting since you're getting a number of copies all out in the battlefield at the same time. You get an incredible cost reduction for just a flash of a moment. When Myriad triggers, it's the creature attacks, and then you create a copy attacking every other opponent, and then at the end of combat, you sacrifice them. So
it's interesting because it's
I didn't even see that.
It's the first reduction costing creature that I think I would ever want to attack with. Most of the time, they just sit there and do nothing. So it's interesting that they brought out a card that actually rewards you for attacking.
Yeah, now if you've got, 3 opponents and you're attacking, boom, now you've got instant and sorceries cost 3 less to cast for just that moment there. So if you've got a pretty beefy instant, oh, well, look at the bottom ability. You can play sorceries as though they had flash.
Yeah, especially with flash is nice.
Yeah, so making your big blue spells 3 less, that's pretty good.
So, I mean, I didn't read, in all honesty, the Illithid Harvester because it looked like a lot of tiny words.
I was reading it now. It's as a sorcery, it kind of sucks. It's got a sleep ability as a sorcery. Tap X target creatures. They don't untap during their next untap step. But as a sorcery, that kind of blows. And then I actually can't read what that word is.
Coromorpheus. When Illithid Harvester enters the battlefield, turn any number of tapped target non-token creatures face down. They're 2/2 horror creatures.
Oof. Oh. Turn somebody's commander face down, turn everybody else's commander's face down. Yeah,
that's a lot better on the creature side of things.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem with that is that you almost will probably never want to play this sorcery. Well, no, you're tapping them. Actually, whoa, that's actually insane. Hold on.
And then they don't tap their control.
Yeah, you have a turn. When it comes back around, just lock them all down. This card's actually nuts.
Yeah.
Oof.
This card's mean.
Let's go ahead and just assume that's on the mythic side, huh?
Yeah, that card's. I take it back. As a sorcerer, it's fine because of its second ability.
Well, and just think, you're going to load your hand full of shit that taps other people's stuff.
Right, yeah. And the fact that, you can just completely nuke their commander, and it's so... If they're a deck that just doesn't have a way to sack their creatures, their commander's just done. They're going to try suiciding it or blocking with it or whatever, but...
Yeah, and you just let a 2/2 ping you for a while.
Yeah, this reminds me of Imprison in the Moons, like a card like that where it's like it removes your commander and it's so hard to get your commander back in some decks.
I've used Darksteel Mutation in a number
Yeah,
of
that as
decks,
well.
and I personally, making it a 0/1 indestructible.
So that looks like a mythic. I'm digging it. It feels juice. What do you guys
That's
think?
got some power on it.
I think that's a mythic on the left there too. The Raised by Giants.
Yeah, it's a background card, so we don't know if you get. Yeah, 6 mana. It's I don't know if I really care about this one. None of the background cards seem that great, but
I've got to say, I think this is probably my favorite here, just because you can really beef up something. You know, turning your Omnath into a 10/10, that's not too shabby. Maybe I'll start swinging out with that. Or if you've got something that flies over.
I mean, maybe. I mean, at 6, is this strong enough to win
maybe
you the game?
Belagos, you could pay 10 life, untap all your lands, so maybe this isn't that much of a cost to those kind of decks when they have so much mana, or decks that have a ton of mana.
Who's the double striker? The Shadrix Silverquill. I think he's got flying and double strike.
Well, but that's white black.
Okay,
this is green.
So you got it, like you said. Just put green in there. Put your whole deck nothing but double strikers. Play that blade.
Well, this is only commanders that give it. Only commanders have base power toughness of 10.
Oh, so I'm just reading this one over here,
right.
just a little bit to the right. Wiles Reversal, 2 and a red, instant. Choose target spell or ability with 1 or more targets. Roll a d20. Add the greatest power among creatures you control. No matter what, you're choosing new targets for it. That's
3 mana is not too bad.
That's not too bad.
I like that it's 1 or more targets, considering Hinata is a monster.
Yeah, it seems
these
like
reversals are always great because they're surprise.
Right.
Right? This ain't too shabby.
No,
yeah, I've been blown out a few times by the change target of your spell to X. I'm like, I didn't see that coming. Especially in decks that don't really like. My buddy runs a Belagos deck. There's a black card that does it. It's just a black and a colorless, and it just changes the target of a spell. I'm like, what the heck?
And I don't even know that the second part matters as much, that you can copy it. But
yeah, that's just a plus.
It is. That's what I'm saying.
The fact that there's no failure is great on this.
Exactly. There's no
there's no failure on it. There's no. It's just good no matter what.
It's a good card.
Imagine that. Yeah, they did 1 through 8 and you get nothing. Yeah.
On a natural one, I'd be okay with it because I played D&D and the natural one's the failure. Maybe on a natural 20.
And this is fairly costed at 3. It's not super expensive, and it's not 1 casting cost or free busted. I think that's a well-designed card in my opinion.
Yeah, it's probably better than like Miscast or something. And in red, that's pretty much out of pie. So this seems pretty acceptable.
No, they have that other red one, the Deflecting SWAT.
Yeah, but I mean that's like a $60 card.
So that's what I'm saying. Will's reversal there is that's solid. It's good. Again, I'm not poo-pooing on the cards we're seeing here, guys. Not most of them, anyways.
I'm not too mad about seeing Lae'zel. Well, it gives counters for creatures or planeswalkers that you control, or on yourself. You get to put another counter of those types on the permanent or player instead.
Can you shield yourself?
No.
No, I'm talking about from the shield ability with... says you can put them on that permanent or yourself.
Yeah.
So could you like those things that bring out shield tokens? Could you cast it and then put a shield on yourself?
I don't know what shield you're talking about the new regeneration?
Yeah.
Well, it's called shield from New Capenna.
I haven't seen it yet. I was told that it's similar to regenerate, but it's just damage wise instead.
It's like
it's a token that if it dies, you don't.
Gotcha.
If you were to take damage or die, then remove that counter. So you could ping someone for 1 and it would move the counter, or you could Blasphemous Act and it saves it once.
So somebody shoots you for like 50 with the Ether Flux Reservoir. If you could shield yourself, it's like bing, nope. That'd be cool. And you could have multiple shields on you.
Yeah, they gotta stop this. Activate only as a sorcery. I just will not play a card that has that. I'm sorry. It's already 3. Comes into play tapped.
Yeah,
You have to
I
pay
don't
mana
agree
to
with this one.
activate it. Why? There's already so much that this has to happen.
Yeah.
And you don't get enough, right? You create a token, or you create a treasure token and draw a card. And that's what
gain
you've
3
done
life.
with
We gain the
5
initiative.
mana. 5 mana.
But yeah, it's a lot for 5. And as a sorcery, and it comes into play taps. You can't get anything. It doesn't do anything when it hits the field. It's just why?
I would
why
pass
is it
left on the
sorcery?
draft on that Joker. We do need to cover the Furkrag. Well, that's just a bad name. Other than a bad name. The dragon down there. The Cunning Instigator. The Phoenix, meh. It's basically a Commander Phoenix.
Yeah, I was looking at the Phoenix. The Phoenix looks okay.
Get bent.
3 mana, flying 4/2. You can activate it only during the attacker segment, only if you're attacking 2 or more opponents.
It seems
Boom.
It's okay.
Furkrag. There you go. I'll let either one of you. I mean, I like it. I'll just say that.
I'll go for it. Furkrag, Cunning Instigator. 3, a blue, and a red. You get a 3/3 legendary dragon, flying, haste. Whenever 1 or more dragons you control attacks an opponent, goad target creature that player controls. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, if that creature had to attack this combat, you put a 1/1 counter on Furkrag, Cunning Instigator, and you draw a card.
Definitely a mythic.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's legendary, which is nice. Yeah, the name is a little strange. It sounds dirty for some reason. I don't think it's supposed to be, but it sounds dirty. I think maybe just rag. Maybe it's rog. Furkrog.
Furkrog.
If you say Furkrog, it's not as bad. If you say Furkrag, it sounds a little dirty. I don't know. I don't know what a Furkrag is, but
Oh,
I
it
don't
says
know.
mythic on the bottom there too. You can see clearly the mythic symbol.
Yeah, the little
But
M.
I'm a little concerned with the 3/3. Like it should have been like a 2/4 or even a 1/5 or
a little bit soft.
I think a 4/4 would be fine, but it does a lot, and it gets
I
counters.
mean, it does a lot for
At
a
least it
4/4.
gives
I'm
that
saying,
ability to other dragons as well.
but it's just it dies to every shocking sort of like it's
lightning bolt.
squishy.
Yeah.
And for 5, so that means it's probably gonna die quickly the first time, and then
Yeah.
it's 7 to have this ability. Ooh. So I on just a card design element, I am a Furkrag. But like a 1/5 would have been fair enough, I think. You know, like you're not playing this thing because of the 3 power, right? I'd be willing to sacrifice power for toughness on this thing easily. Right? Because I'm a little scared that this thing's just gonna get blowed up.
Yeah, he's not that strong. It does have flying haste, so you almost certainly could play it and immediately attack one person and make him a 4/4. So I don't know, because it has flying.
No.
Yes. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, if that creature had to attack this turn, only goad. So it's only the things that you goad that you get the 1/1 counter.
But so my thought on it is you play it on a turn that you're already attacking with other things. So I mean, turn 4, maybe turn 5 if you're lucky, you're getting this out. You've already got 2 other creatures attacking that turn. So then you get to choose creatures to goad, and then the next turn you're putting 1/1 counters on this bad guy and drawing those cards.
Only if they did combat damage.
Right.
Imagine. Actually, it would have been a lot better if whenever a creature attacks, that's goaded. Because dealing combat damage means that they have to actually connect as well.
Yeah.
They could just get blocked.
Yeah, well, and if you don't think that other people are going to be trying to block this just to prevent you from drawing cards, there's going to be a lot of politics on the table.
It might be right. Seems like there's a little bit over-designed. A lot of work going on.
Because that's a strong ability, man.
Oh
It's
yeah,
too much work.
Right? I mean, well, but it's strong. It's strong. It's very, very strong, especially if you have multiple dragons out there.
Well, and if you're forcing a Seedborn Muse to attack now, oh come on, that's like one of my key pieces. Oh, you're attacking, and now Birds of Paradise, my one mana source of red, is gotta go. Goad's. Oh, I've played against a
Well,
goat.
no, because you could just tap. You could tap Birds of Paradise for mana and it doesn't have to attack.
Goat is strong.
Goat doesn't mean you have to attack.
It's attack if anything.
If it's eligible, you have to attack. So anything that can tap itself, like mana creatures, mana dorks, won't have to. Or creatures that can tap for whatever reason, or if you can tap your own creature, they don't have to attack when they're going.
Criminal Past is probably the best background I've seen so far. Not that great, but it's still okay.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that these backgrounds should have been cheaper. That's the sense that I get when I look at these backgrounds. It just adds, basically what it is either like an equipment or an aura, right? In all honesty. I don't know why they went as complicated as having the backgrounds. You know what I'm saying?
Raffle Dragon's not bad at all either.
No, it's not bad.
It's any target, so that could be the person.
No, it feels like, buy your dragons now, folks. Not financial advice.
Could be strong.
Right.
It looks
This
like they're
guy's
definitely
blurry
pushing
as all
dragons
heck.
again.
Let's pull him up. Raphael.
Uh-oh. Demon Tribal,
Flying
baby.
Devil 4. Oh, Devil Noble.
Well, but it's
Other
Demon
demons,
Tribal.
devils, imps, and tieflings you control get 1/1 and have lifelink. Okay. Why other? Just give himself. Who cares? Anyways. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature card was put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, create a 1/1 red devil creature token with when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. So, red, black, and 3 for a 4/4 flyer is okay. Giving everything a 1/1 and lifelink is okay. I mean, that's pretty strong. Lifelink, I like lifelink.
Here's the interesting part of this one. Is it says creature card.
I hate that too, because that doesn't mean tokens. Tokens don't count.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? It would be creatures going to the graveyard, but it's not considered a card.
Yeah, I ran into that problem with the Sephiroth deck. I thought that if the Atropole died, it would trigger Sephiroth, but because Sephiroth says creature card, it doesn't trigger. I'm like, well, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Because they're not a card. It's like, I have the card right here. It is a card.
It seems fair, but not broken.
Yeah, he seems fine. It's not nothing to write home about. Lands, I like these. These are good lands. I like these lands. I'm glad they chose these.
Solid cycle. Reflecting Pool's fine enough.
Yeah, we've already been
Reflecting Pool's great.
I don't think it's all that great, but we've already been to these others before. I would like to get on with some of the other stuff that we have to talk about tonight, because we're starting to get a little late. I don't know that we'll cover everything that we had intended to. But just I'll go ahead and cover the first one, and let me try to pull up my email here if you guys want to talk.
You can swap us back to the group view.
Let me get you guys talk for a minute while I pull up the email.
I thought so.
The next thing that we could talk about that is a pretty juicy topic that I actually know stuff about, if you want, is the Secretversary delay. The delay for the flip token, all the whatchamacallits. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. The Secretversary SLD.
Yeah,
delay.
Actually, here I have something that I can share.
Because I got the email that said that my flips, I win, you lose. Yeah, that.
Yes,
that
this
email.
is it right here.
Although you get Neo collector packs, so that's cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, so going through what's actually on the screen here, that they were supposed to be released April 22nd, and I'll even show. I got this on April 14th. Like they had to wait till April 14th to tell me that it's something that was supposed to be here next week. Sorry, just kidding.
Yeah.
Is pushed back to May 6th. That shows actually somewhat the tightness of their sort of delivery schedules. I'm surprised by that. What's that?
It's not even delayed that long. Like, why bother? Like, I'm curious. They must have some kind of shipping delay or something.
May 6th. Additionally, the heads I win, tails you lose commander decks will now ship in fall 2020.
Yeah, I'm like, it's the only secret lair I've ordered in like actually ever. I've never ordered a Secret Lair. That's the only one I've ever actually ordered, and then it's delayed. I'm like, really? Come on.
But we can't hate on them too much because, as you pointed out, they're going to send us 2 Kamigawa Neon Collector boosters.
Yeah.
If you ordered the Heads I Win, Tails You Lose. But again, they're going to be shipped in separate wave of shipments and no promise of when that will.
I was going to say, when is that? That's the thing.
They didn't say. So
they should ship those in. They should ship those in place of.
But
you have
I agree
that they were supposed to be delivered.
But I mean, hey, they're giving. I'm a patient guy. Were you like? Did you need that deck to play on Jake and Joel's channel or something? Or
I'm not even going to open it.
Right.
I
don't know what I'm doing with it. But
I literally bought it. I bought 2 actually. Now that I think about it, I bought one to open and one to just keep, or maybe both to keep. We'll see. I don't know what I'm going to do with them.
But they're still
first Secret Lair I've ever ordered.
They're still only going to give you 2 collector packs because it was per order. With those
that's fair.
So if you had split it up, you'd get 4. But look, I mean, we're getting essentially $50 worth of value because that's about the average going cost of a Kamigawa Neon Dynasty collector pack is about $25. Yeah, so I don't mind them screwing up and giving me 2 free collector packs, and I just have to be more patient for something I wasn't planning on cracking anyways.
Right. If it was something that was planned to be kept sealed, then it's not terribly sad that it's gonna stay sealed whenever it gets there still. So no real loss there, I guess.
No, I'm glad that they're doing something. Like I'll share a story. A friend of mine that I'm getting into the game now, and more as an investor than a player. Actually, he doesn't have any current plans of playing. So what we did is getting into it, and he's an investor. He's doing well in life, and my first suggestion. First off, let me ask you guys, just before we even say what set that I recommended that he buys, what set would you recommend to somebody who's got a little extra money that you feel is going to appreciate well, almost like a can't lose? What would you recommend?
I'd probably go with either Ikoria or Commander Legends 1.
Okay, so far we bought
top 3. Like if you had to say what are your top 3, it'd be the 3 we just said.
Actually, I would put Jumpstart ahead of Ikoria for appreciation value.
I just bought a case of Jumpstart actually,
but I love Ikoria. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of Ikoria, especially from a player's standpoint. Amazing. But it was Modern Horizons 2, and we sat in my kitchen or in my morning room and cracked open 2 set boxes of Modern Horizons 2. Fantastic experience, and he got 29 packs in his box.
Interesting.
Like I told him, I'm like, I don't know, that's a weird one. What a weird.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Ever. Like, and he counted it 3 times in front of me. I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm like, did he get trapped behind something there? Nope. There were 29 packs in his box. But fortunately, it was a good box that the value of just the high dollar cards ended up coming to over $300. So he got a monkey, he got a Scalding Tarn. Excellent. Just think about it for an experience for an investor type to crack open a product. Modern Horizons 2 just people. That's a bomber of a product. Just
Commander Legends as well is also one you can almost not lose.
He bought a case of Commander Legends 1 as well, and a case of Jumpstart. So that's how he started his sealed collection.
It's a surprise, absolutely.
So they're going to sit on his shelves. But he's starting to get the fever to crack things. Pump the brakes a little.
Yeah,
I get it.
Before stream, I was popping open Ikoria collectors with a buddy earlier. Don't get me wrong, we got real good hits out of that stuff. Fierce Guardianship and Deflecting SWAT out of 2 packs there. So
I'm going to do this 2 weeks in a row, Pat. I can't be wrong 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
So, Matt, you weren't here last week. Pat, can you please explain to him? As a matter of fact, I can even show. I still have the pack sitting here from last week.
There we go.
Matt, I'm a big don't crack it. It loses value. The surest way to lose money in Magic is to crack sealed. Right?
Most of the time, yeah.
So I tried to show them on stream, like, here, I'm going to open a pack of Time Spiral just to show you. It's a $10 pack, and you're not going to get your money back. Well, egg on me. I got a Cloud Key a Monastery Swift Spear, and a foil manifold key. The retro frame. I'm like, okay, that didn't work out. But I promise you people that this pack has to lose money after last week. So here we go. We'll even see if it averages out. So $40 pack. I'm going to crack this joker right now. Don't crack sealed. And this is even to my friend out there. So I'm sure we'll rewatch this. I've already cracked the seal.
I love opening packs of cards, but I actually haven't opened a product since the Commander Legends box that I opened for the cards for the deck that I needed. And I found out they weren't even in there.
Uncommons, who cares? All right, so here we go. No fooling. Just going to take it right. So clearly I can count. There's not enough cards to even have.
Here we go again.
So what is that?
See-through.
Who knows?
Muraganda
card.
Petroglyphs.
Fancy.
Nasty. And
Epic
Experiment. But so I'm going to bet that there's probably not even $1 worth of cards in that pack. Right? So that's my point.
I don't think it is.
See, there you go. That was an epic experiment.
Yes, this is what I was trying to say, that crack it for fun, but when you're talking about value, which is something I keep going over with my friend, and I've pointed out, you guys watch all these Joey Moss, like opening Urza's Legacy and Revised and getting like $1,000 in.
Cents.
What's that?
26 cents for the Epic Experiment.
And how much for the Petroglyphs? Probably like another 25 cents. So not even 50 cents in cards, people.
Yeah, he's right. That's how it was.
Yes. Amen. RD Coy. That is exactly how it was supposed to go last week, not a $40 pack, because that's realistic. For every one of those packs that you get $40 worth of cards, you're going to get 35 packs like this.
Yep.
Or thereabouts. So, you know, it's sort of like a smaller experiment of what the professor does with his booster box battles. That was more like booster pack battles, but it's the same idea. You know, target your singles if you want to get specific cards or get the value for it in the long run. You're going to end up with more money. If you want to invest in Magic, keep that shit sealed. Mm-hmm. That's just the way to do it. So that was sort of a follow-up to last week because I felt like such a boob when I opened $40 worth. I'm like, really?
I thought it was hilarious in the like.
It was hilarious. I mean, I'm happy to get $40, but it's sort of like, people, that's not how it works most of the time.
I promise you, it's crap.
It is. You know it, Matt. You've opened an entire box of Commander Legends and almost can't miss product. You said was an entire box of poop. Didn't you? You said you got what, like $40 in value out of a Commander Legends box? Something like that?
There was a really bad box, and then the next box I had a freaking Jeweled Lotus in, so, you know. You're going to have those. But, yeah, there was... I don't know if it was Commander Legends. I think it might have been.
Yeah,
I've had one
Commander
really
Legends
bad
was a
Commander
bad
Legends box before.
It can be. I've seen Modern Horizons boxes that were poop.
Yeah.
Rudy just had one recently. He had a Commander's Legends box that was horrible. Like, there was nothing.
Oh, he had two of them.
It happens.
Ew, Rudy? Yeah. It was funny. He was talking about, really, people, this is a great product. And they were two shit boxes. It was like, oof.
He was like, you're going to go down in history as the least profitable boxes I've ever opened.
But if you look at Joey Moss, it highlights it even more. He's opening these multi-$1,000 boxes, like the revised box. Out of the revised box, he got 2 dual lands, no Wheel of Times or Wheel of Fortune, Wheel of Time. You know, it was miserable. I would say he was hard pressed to come up with $2,000 out of a
$7,500
$12,000 box.
12.
No, they're $12,000 or 13.
And it's tough because people are paying for it, and it's not all him either. So there's a lot of supporters that are sharing that burn. You know.
Yeah, I would never do that to my viewers. I'm sorry. If I take the risk, I'll do it with my own money.
Yeah. Asking
you to give me the pleasure of opening an older box, and you get the pleasure of footing the bill.
Yeah.
I maybe people just enjoy being on a famous channel or something. I don't care if it was Rudy. I'd be like, no.
That's an incredible premium to pay for those cards. And again, it just goes against really one of the core tenets, it seems, that we all share, is that if you want to be, air quote, investing into Magic, you don't open stuff like that.
Now, that doesn't mean I don't say, like, I love going to Coder Cards. right? And having him crack it. And we talked about this before, and I don't think we highlighted enough. When you're doing something like that, or on Twiddler, who I've been going to, and he has these duck races for packs, which is just phenomenal. If you guys haven't been out there to check that out, go check out Twiddler's channel. He's doing these duck races, which is just fun as hell. And that's what you're doing when you're going to like Cothran Cards or one of these others where they're enjoying an experience with you. You're doing it for the experience, the camaraderie, being part of an environment. There's a lot to be said for that. That is actually kind of fun, and you're paying a little bit of a premium for that process. It's not that's not $300 packs getting 50 cents worth of cards kind of fun that I don't recommend, but a few bucks here and there. It's just like going out to a bar and dropping $40 on drinks for yourself for the night, and you end up walking away with more than nothing like you do at a bar. But it is the experience. So that doesn't mean don't ever crack cards. Who here doesn't like to crack a pack? Raise your hand and I'll tell you you're an effing liar. Everybody likes to crack the packs and get that sort of scratch off lottery feeling. But doing it on a pack cracking channel is like Cothran Cards. If you haven't experienced that, please go out and check out Cothran Cards. He's been a guest on our channel. Excellent dude. Twiddler, he's got a little different flavor for what he's doing, and the duck races are just fun.
When you say duck races, do you mean actual ducks?
Yeah, he's got this like app that does these duck races, and the participants are a duck, and they have these like little ducks in the water, and they're racing back and forth. And
I thought you meant live ducks. I was like, that seems
that would have been super awesome.
So much better. I wanted real ducks.
I think people would complain to like PETA about that.
Back around,
Well, no, if they're just swimming around a pond and you just pick a duck and you just like put a little ring on, like
almost all racing of all animals is some form of torture. Either you're starving them to death so they'll chase the food, or you're prodding them with something because they don't have a natural tendency to try to beat other ducks. It's not why they're running. They're either running because of fear of being shocked or they need to get food. One or the other. It's not.
I mean, you could. It depends on what you decide racing is. You could. I mean, if they're all just swimming around in circles already.
Well, let's just put it this way. Kind of drifted off topic, and the point was cracking pack
wanted real duck racing.
Thing.
Okay,
I will say this:
secret versary is being delayed.
I will say this, and I don't know. Maybe it should be a T-shirt or a bumper sticker. Friends don't let friends crack packs alone. Like if that's what you're doing, cracking packs in the corner.
I will say it is a lot better to crack packs with friends around. It's way more fun.
Yeah, that's why I try and do mostly like mail day stuff. When I'm recording by myself, I usually have like a buddy over when I'm cracking packs solo here, and that's like our big thing. Is when we come, he comes over, we take out 2 packs, we slap them against each other like we're cheers and beers, and then rip wrappers.
So I mean, there is a time and place, but if you're doing it with the misconception that you're going to make money from it, that's troublesome and problematic because it's only going to lead to feel bads ultimately. Right? You might get that $40 pack, but the other 10 non-$40 packs you opened that were 50 cents, the feel bads outnumber the feel goods by far. Because you can even open a shitty pack amongst friends, and if it was really horrible, that could even be a fun experience of wow.
Yeah.
They got you get the award for the ugliest pack of the night.
Wow, they gave you 2 prismatic pipers. Fucking win, Pat.
Got him.
So yeah, I mean, and hopefully that sort of ties in with our message of make this fun. The whole milieu is about fun.
Exactly. So, shared experience. It's a lot like playing with yourself. It's better if you do it with a friend. You don't want to just be gold fishing with your deck.
Whoa, I don't know about that.
Come on now.
But I think we just delved down a deep, dark hole of a different type. Speaking of different types, and Matt, I know that this is kind of in your wheelhouse, so I really am glad that you're with us here tonight.
Yeah, you want me to bring it in? Because I actually have a decent bit of knowledge about it.
Yeah, thanks again for being here, Matt. It's always great to chat with you. I love what you're bringing with it.
Yeah, it sucks that I have to miss some days, but I have prior engagements with bowling every other. Well, it's not even every other Saturday. That's the strange thing. It fluctuates depending on the month. It's every second and fourth Saturday. So there could be days or months where it's just strange. And then I missed a Saturday because of a friend's birthday party. But But yeah, the interesting thing that came out was the Flesh and Blood. This is Flesh and Blood. So if you guys don't like Flesh and Blood, I guess.
Awesome.
Wait, before we talk about it, hold on. Before we talk about it, let's at least thank all of our visitors for coming tonight. Thank you before you hit the dislike and leave. Thanks everybody for coming. So now we can talk about Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, so Flesh and Blood, there was like a big monumental thing that happened over the past week where they were going to release, they do something that not a lot of card games do. They release the print runs, meaning the number of boxes that were printed for each set as they come out. And they wait like 6 months to a year, sometimes longer, to release the print run. But basically, whenever they go out of print, there's a X amount of time where it goes by where then they finally say 50,000 boxes of the first edition were printed, 25,000 boxes, whatever. Well, Monarch, there were some really weird things that were happening with Monarch that were kind of brought to light recently, where the print number was released for Monarch first edition, and it was 125,000 boxes. And now the 125,000 boxes, it doesn't sound like a huge number, but when you're only in 33% of the stores global or in the United States that even carry your product, and the things that happened with Monarch First Edition, they at one point were $1,000, and like there was like Road to 1K, Monarch's like amazing, Monarch's great, and then all of a sudden they just got plummeted into price. They got all the way down to I think the lowest I've ever seen was 140 for a First Edition box, where they were touting they were supposed to be going to 1K. Because all the other boxes have done that. Every single box, if you were to take and you were to have their price for first edition boxes going from the Welcome to Wraith all the way up into Monarch, people were expecting them to be 1K because the set previous to it was 2K. So you would just have each box as a half-life for each value of each first edition box. But what had happened was basically there were some distribution, there was corruption in distribution to where so much of the product was consumed by certain entities. I don't even want to name names because it doesn't really do any good to. I mean, I don't. There was two big entities. If you go into watch Rudy's channel, if you want to go watch his video, he explains those people. But basically, they consumed so much of the product that
you spoiled my point, Pat.
Oh,
go ahead, Matt.
They consumed so much of the product that I think it was something like 60% or it was a large number of percentage of stores didn't get any first edition boxes, so they had to print more. They basically had to make the boxes worthless in order for the other two entities to offload their product and actually get the product to market, because there were so many people that didn't get any product of first edition Monarch, and that's why they were so much money, because there were people that were consuming so much of the supply, even though they were not. That's not the design of a distributor. A distributor is not. You're not supposed to hold the product. You're supposed to bring it to market. And these people, the corruption that they had such mass reach. Somehow they were able to get so much product that they just destroyed Monarch. Monarch got literally. I mean, it could have ruined the game. Really.
The collectible side of it seems like it definitely took a big turn. Did that affect the player base, the actual functionality?
No.
Were people still like pleased with the product itself as an item, or was price point really the big issue?
I foresee initially, yes. I foresee that a lot of people will like, F this game. They don't care. It's a money grab. I'm out. They like. I mean, you have to remember, like when you play with people's money, and I say this kind of lightly. I would say playing with the money. I don't think that the LSS. I don't think they really wanted to mess with people, but they want they don't. They care about the market somewhat, but at the end of the day, they are a game designer and they want their game brought to market, and they want as much penetration to the market as possible. In order to do that, the stores actually have to have product to push the product to be able to sell it. So I kind of get the reasoning behind printing so much of the product. Did they go overboard? Yeah, probably.
No.
But I think they kind of had to.
No.
So
So I'm going to say two things here. Number one, did you read the Flesh and Blood website where they talked about how they did not want to release the Unlimited alongside the first edition, which I think is dumb. Why not? Just introduce them at two different price points. Then you clearly have defeated the problem of not having product available at launch for the stores.
Hmm.
Right? That
I
would have
think
been
there's
the
hype
easiest
that
solution.
comes with first edition that would be tamed a bit from releasing unlimited at the same
No,
time.
I mean, no more than collector boxes versus standard, draft boxes. But
sure.
and they even acknowledge that, even in his statement. And I'm like, well, that's just no offense, James White, but I think that was a stupid statement. I'm sorry, that was just dumb. I think you keep the first edition and you just print excess unlimited. People have it, and you just charge a higher price point. If people want to collect the collectible version of it, then they buy the first edition. Duh. That was pretty much a no-brainer. Whatever. There's a lot more I want to get into here with Flesh and Blood, but you can go ahead and bring up my screen now. You said that they printed too much, right? I'm going to bring up a beloved set from Magic, right? Who would not like to have a box of Revised? Even back in the day, and you guys weren't around back then, but pretty quickly, these still were pricey pretty much early on in the game. Like by 1998, they were pricey boxes. And that you weren't buying boxes even often back when Revised was released. There wasn't a ton of it laying around. But when you look at did you guys see how many cards, the estimated print run under the marketing there?
500 million.
I estimated 500 million. How many cards are in a pack? Tells you right there on the pack.
15.
So you divide that by 15. That tells you how many packs. How many packs are in a box?
I have no idea.
36.
I wasn't. They've changed the number so many times over the course of the
No,
year.
it was 36 packs in a box, 15 cards per pack. Do you know what that math comes out to?
Nope, but I'm sure you're going to tell me.
I am going to tell you. This is how many boxes were printed of Revised. How many boxes? Based off of these numbers, WotC has not released them. This is the best guesstimate. And I've seen between 300 million and 600 million. So somewhere in between there. 925,925 boxes. Think about that, people. And when we talk about Magic, it wasn't a well-known product in 1994 when Revised was printed. It was a younger game than Flesh and Blood. And they had the audacity to print nearly 1 million boxes of Revised.
Well, also
here's the reason why I say that.
Hold on, let's.
There's a difference. No. There's a difference though. There's a difference between a standard box and then printing 1 million collector boxes. The reason why first edition is so coveted and why people love it so much is because the code foils. The code foils are not worth anything, and they're not special if they're printed to oblivion. So there's a difference here. This is a bad. I think this is a bad.
I don't think it's a bad example at all. It's the first edition of Revised, right? And even though there are different versions of cards, what I'm saying is this was a popular product. And we can look at all the ones around it. Even I looked at the other print run numbers. They're all higher, right? Right from the rip, Magic was printing more boxes than Flesh and Blood. And I would venture to say that Flesh and Blood now, in its third year, is more popular than Magic was. And let's go rewind a year. We'll say the second year, right? For Monarch we'll call it Flesh and Blood's second year. Although I think it was actually technically, no, it was the second year. Is more popular in its second year than Magic was in its second year. And they were printing way more boxes way back in the day before any of this was known. Per set.
I mean, I don't doubt that they're going to still be worth money. I'll probably still pick up another case or two of Monarch because as long as the game survives, they're going to still be worth money, and it'll blow over.
And that's a different thing. But when they say it's printed to oblivion, they printed too much. I 1,000% disagree. And if you look at distribution back when Magic was first around in 1994, there wasn't a huge distribution cycle either. There weren't that many LGSs. There wasn't Amazon. There wasn't the distribution you have nowadays. There was no online distribution.
First edition cold foil cards versus rainbow foils is just such a different thing.
I think you're missing the point. I was picking something that has aged super well. It was liked back in the day, but we'll go with a different set. Whatever reason that it's
no Magic set matter. No Magic set compares, though, is what I'm saying.
Well, what do you mean?
No Magic set has cold foil cards that can only be obtained from that set, unless you're talking about like foil cards for like Kaladesh.
Sure, back in the day, you have black border cards that could only be in there. Otherwise, they were printed in a standard or a core set. Fine, we'll pick a different set. We'll do something like Legends. Right? Can we all agree Legends is super expensive?
At this point, yeah.
It was expensive back in the day. They were $10 a pack on the shelves when it was released, and they would limit it to where you could only buy one pack at a time. No, but Legends had a different pack count. Oh, it'll be different to compare.
A tough comparison, especially with the market that they were dealing with at release. I don't think that there was the same competition for Magic when it came out in that same time frame. Whereas now, Flesh and Blood coming out, even to compete with Yu-Gi-Oh!
Popular games. Yeah, there's like 10 popular card games right now.
Yeah.
They have to compete quite
now,
heavily.
If you're saying that there's a bigger market to compete with, I agree. That I'll agree with.
Well, like I don't know. I just think that you start in their first edition, their Welcome to Wraith. I think the print run was like it might have been 5 or 25,000. I think it was a low number. Like the Welcome to Wraith boxes are super low.
Welcome to Wraith and Arcane Rising were both the same at like 19,000 boxes, I think, something in that ballpark. We could go to the Flesh and Blood site. And then it was 35,000 or maybe it was 13,500, I think it was 13,500 boxes for Welcome to Wraith and Arcane, and then it was 35,000 for Crucible. And it's just what they were expecting. Like it's its own sort of eco cycle that they stepped outside of, is what I'm saying. But when you compare it to other things, it was nowhere near as dastardly as people making it sound. It's nowhere near as flooded as what Magic did in its early days.
It definitely seems like altogether
people are making a much bigger deal out of it than it really is. Like the only people that are complaining are people that are kind of like the evil investors, if you will, which I'm one. I have a case of Tales of Aria and a case of Everfest sitting on my shelf. I
have 3 cases of Tales of Aria.
I don't think that these numbers are absurd. Now, if they double again to Tales of Aria and then double that again to Everfest, I'll sort of have a different opinion. Like, ooh, pump the brakes, guys. However, they're not even as bad as like what WotC did in its early days, right? So saying that it's going to kill the game, it's bad for everybody, I don't agree. Now, could they? I think what they should have done is stuck with the first edition and unlimited model, and they should have produced more unlimited at release to make it more available for the stores. I mean, that's what it's there for, to play with, right? And then just charge a different premium for your first edition boxes. I think it would have been a healthier cycle rather than printing way more of the first edition. Like that was a failure of vision, I think, on their part. Like if they had just released the two alongside each other, fine. Why not? What's the harm?
Right. I think, I agree with you certainly on that. My only thought, on why they didn't do it like that is probably just getting actual product to people. But even on that note, I think that if they had scheduled it to come out alongside, you wouldn't see the huge variance in price swings. It would probably be a lot more stable for people that are interested in the play aspect and people that are interested in purely the investing aspect.
100%.
Because all you can get is the expensive product first. That's where you're going to get action.
I'll give you a tinfoil hat of why they don't like that, right? Because the people that were looking to buy the first edition, just like what Matt was talking about, the evil channel earballs that are out there are holding back product, and the evil distributors that are holding back product to try to corner the market, to monopolize and drive prices to the roof kind of thing. If you release enough product, including the unlimited at release, then you beat that problem, right? And you can't corner the market. It makes it more complicated for an evil investor / distributor / channel evil ball to, corner that market. You know what I'm saying? Like it makes it more difficult to manipulate the market. If you would release the both. Plus, it probably increases the cost on Legend Story Studios to produce both the first edition runs and unlimited side by side for a simultaneous release. Like that makes the logistics harder on them. But I think a difficulty with logistics is worth not tanking your effing game.
Especially to, be very choosy about how you're going about these first couple of months and years into products, since they are so new on the scene. I think being very tentative about how they're releasing things is definitely something they've got to pay attention to. And I think we've got here on the outline some very interesting changes in Flesh and Blood as a game itself, introducing new mechanics and play styles. So I think that they're trying to be innovative, and I've already seen some releases saying that the way that they've been doing first edition and unlimited, they're trying to work things out to get better reception, not just by the audience side of it, but the player side of it. Collectors being able to get hands on it, as well as people that want to turn cards sideways.
Yeah, I would say, just like, first of all, and it was my thoughts initially, don't make, you make small movements to something that you have success on. You don't grab that successful moneymaker and then start twisting for all it's worth. You know what I mean? They should have made small adjustments. Grow smaller, don't grow as fast. But if it's successful, keep using that formula that works, right? They went a multitude factor greater, right? Without even having a lot of data. So if you have success, don't break it, is what I'm saying. And I would say, by all accounts, Flesh and Blood was very successful in its first 2 years. Monarch was the first.
What do you mean by that? Are you talking about their print run numbers?
They went from like the first 2 sets, the same exact print run size. And then they reached out there and doubled it, and they saw that people went from 5,000, 10,000, and people just gobbling it up, the Crucible of War, as fast as they could, right?
Yeah, it went 16,000, 16,000, 37,000.
Right. And then they went
125,000.
all the way up to 125,000. That's a big move, right? And you have to acknowledge that is a significant deflection of the needle.
Well, but their reasoning behind that is strictly, well, they claim this, and we don't have any of the details, so we can only go by what we know. Is because of the distribution, the corruption in distribution. They claim they were holding so many boxes and had a hold of so many boxes that stores didn't have the product, and they needed to print more to get those stores' product. That's their claim. So I don't know how many boxes Channel Fireball and CardShop.live actually were able to consume, but they apparently they had enough to completely destroy the market of Monarch. I mean, if you ever go look, and I mean, I was seeing it. I actually bought multiple cases from them of Monarch. They were just pumping them, like their eBay had thousands of cases. It was nuts. I was confused how they had so many, but they must have some way to like register maybe card shops all around the country, and they have like fake card shops, and they have like they're able to get more. I don't know how they're able to do it, but
either way,
they had so much product. They destroyed the game. They single-handedly. They've met. I mean, I don't know. What do you do? What do you do in that situation where, as a creator of a game, say they print 50K, then that's like a solid number to print. Say 30,000 of that product is held by some evil distribution center. Like, what do you do?
Fine. You print the unlimited. You print 200,000 unlimited.
People want the cold foils.
Okay, what I'm saying is he's talking about people not having product to play, so it can't grow. Bullshit. If you plan, nobody's hoarding unlimited boxes.
No.
So
they're still like $40.
You print just a limited number of collector boxes, and if you find out that the evil channel Hickory Hill is hoarding boxes, you try to figure out how to fix your distribution chain that way. But you don't blow it up by overprinting the shit out of your own product and making it self-implode, right? You don't give people the option of flooding the market because there just aren't enough out there to do it with. But let's move on from that. I mean, we could sit here debating that sort of minutia, and we don't have, like you said, the numbers. We don't know all of the iterations going on behind the scenes. We don't have the data for it. I'm just saying that, trying to reflect on people saying, 125,000 boxes. Really, people, go look at the Magic numbers. It's not that many. It's not as much as you think when they're printing millions of boxes now, like millions of boxes per set. So
still quote distribution issues. There's some products we've tried getting on release. I think Time Spiral Remastered, that was one of their big production problems. So Magic definitely has a whole lot of learning and ironing out as they go forward as well. Certainly.
Pokemon's had it.
I'm just saying that I don't think it's like, that's not the death knell of the game, if you ask me. And I think patience will work this stuff out with, supply and demand. Ultimately, the evil channel suckballs is not going to hold on to 18,000 pallets of flesh and blood. They have to move that inventory. Dead money is not good for a store. So ultimately, it'll find the hands of people. It's unfortunate that you had this glut. It'll work itself out, and they'll find the prices if the cards are good. But let's move on to like the next part that he did announce, which was super exciting. And if you read the release,
the PvE sounds like it could be
brother.
insane.
That I think could be a Magic killer. In all honesty, if it's done right, you're combining. So let's compare this to something. I don't know how many people play all different kinds of games. I'm going to assume many in the audience have played other card games outside of Magic that are not necessarily CCGs. If you've heard of LCGs or living card games, I'll give a couple of names. You have the Lord of the Rings living card game, the Game of Thrones living card game. You have what's the Cthulhu
There's a
one?
Dragonfire, which is a D&D one.
But there are many living card games, and what the difference is between a collectible card game and a living card game is every pack that you buy for a living card game is exactly the same as that pack anywhere. Every 50 packs if they have 50 packs of that, I don't know. Let's call it we'll do Lord of the Rings, and we'll say it's the One Ring pack. The One Ring pack has the exact same cards in it. Now they create additional booster packs, but they all have identical packs. So you don't get the gamblers' excitement from opening a pack because you know exactly what's in each pack. But those games allow you to play cooperatively. That you're not playing against your friends at the table, you're playing with them. And there's mechanics that can make you fight the game, so to speak. Excuse me. But a lot of people love cooperative gaming. I play a lot of different styles of games, and cooperative is generally one of the most popular ways to play any game. World of Warcraft, on and on and on and on and on. Diablo. There's some PvP in Diablo, but by and large, like 99% of the people playing are not PvPing in Diablo.
No,
they're grouping and PvEing. And in all these games, from Ultima Online all the way up through cooperative gaming is, even Destiny, things like that you can look at, point to. There's a lot of board games now that you may not have heard of with Pandemic and Zombicide.
For the most part, even a game like Call of Duty, that's in a lot of aspects a multiplayer but cooperative gaming experience. You've got a squad of people going against a squad of other people.
And if Legend Story Studios with Flesh and Blood becomes the first CCG, tradable, collectible card game, to develop a truly good, now it has to be good play experience, I'll put that out there, but if they come up with a true multiplayer, cooperative PvE, collectible card game with the gambler's hook in there is what I'll call it, wow, what a winner of a product they're going to have on their hands. That you're cracking packs, you're buying it to sit down and play with friends. I know I would buy the living daylights out of it if it's a lot of fun. And it sounds like, and I have yet to play Flesh and Blood. I've seen a lot of gameplay. I understand what the game is, but I haven't been together with friends to play yet. I don't go out much.
And get a box. I think it would be fun. Matt, as someone who's never opened Flesh and Blood, if I were to try to get into the game itself, how would you suggest I do that? What product would you say I go and purchase to get my hands on to be able to have some fun playing against other people?
I think the best entry is the starter decks, actually. They are decently built decks, and they're cheap. You can get some of them as cheap as $10, and they're what's called the Blitz Decks. Blitz Decks are 30 cards out of the it's basically like roughly half of what your normal standard deck is. And it's just a quicker, easier to learn game, less cards to worry about, less copies of each card in the deck, and you get your hero, you get the cards, you get standard equipment in the Blitz decks, and they're cheap. They're like 10, 15, 20, sometimes $20 depending, and you can buy all of them for fairly cheap, and you can get like a 4-pack for Monarch. They're like $40, and you have 4 different hero play styles. You can all each grab one and play against each other. There is a multiplayer format in Flesh and Blood, even though it's not great.
Fleshed out.
It's I see what you did there.
Yeah, so, I was gonna go
I
totally
don't know.
down.
It's just not as good as Commander. It's strange. Like I've played it with friends. I've played the multiplayer version, and we've played Flesh and Blood. And I'll say that the one-on-one is better. The one-on-one is great. The biggest problem that I have even playing anymore, I haven't played a Flesh and Blood game in like 2 months, and it's sad because I have all these cards. I love the game, but Commander is just easier to play with a group of friends. Right now, there's nothing in a group of friends for Flesh and Blood. There's just nothing that makes me want to go and play that over Commander. I still enjoy the game, but
so then, how do you feel about that? No, please don't.
Oh,
How do you feel, Matt, about the potential introduction of cooperative PvE in Flesh and Blood?
well, it's something that I talked to the group of friends that I play with on Thursdays, normal Commander. I mentioned it to them, and they said that'd be sick. We would definitely try that out. And then I had more details based on the video that I don't know if there was a post that was released. There was a video that I watched from Rudy's channel that I don't know how much of what he said was like actually going to happen or whatever, but the way he described it was LSS seems to want the PvE situation to be like each person grabs a hero, you build your deck. I don't understand if you'll get equipment or not, but from what it seems like is you're going to be playing against whatever the PvE scenario is. Maybe it's going to be scenario based. Maybe it's going to be you face like it seems like it's going to be storytelling, almost Dungeons and Dragons like, to where you pick your character, you pick your cards, and that's kind of like your spells or whatever if you play D&D or your abilities, and then you face things. I don't know what it's going to be, whether it's going to be monsters or if it's going to be other heroes you face or whatever. You face like a scenario they lay out, and then you actually get equipment based on it because your character can wear gear, and because there's a young and a I don't know, I hate how they call them young, but there's a Blitz hero and then there's a standard hero, which is the Blitz hero is half the life and the standard hero is the double the life, and their abilities are the same, but that kind of gives you the ability to level up, so you could actually kind of almost play like this D&D style card game to where you're like you build your deck, you face these scenarios or these stories, and you can almost role play it maybe, and you can get gear from these things and you can level up. Like that's the kind of how he described it. It seems very intriguing.
So I'm sorry, who did you say was describing that?
This was Rudy in his most recent video about the print run.
I believe what he said is when he was talking to James White, is it from Legendary Story Studios, said that it would be what they're shooting for is a feeling like a dungeon dive like Diablo or Dungeons and Dragons, to where you're progressing through stages.
Which I love both of those things. So if they can nail that somehow, that's great.
Yeah, like you got the loot machine from Diablo, and you have progression like Dungeons and Dragons. Again, all of that is very, those are some big words. Those are some big boy pants you're going to have to put on to come up with something that's going to be evocative of those. Because like even in the CCGs that you play, it's not so much of that. You do progress through scenarios in like the Arkham Horror is the name of the other game. So Arkham Horror, Lord of the Rings.
A game I still have never played. I heard it's great.
Well, it's very much like the Lord of the Rings one, and I think we played that, right? You played that with me?
I played the Lord of the Rings one with you. Yep.
They're very similar, just different types of scenarios and different effects, but it's that same style, right? But you don't really feel like you're getting gear. Like that'd be great if you had like a gear pile that you pull from, like if you've ever played Zombicide, and there's the loot deck essentially when you kill things, and you can get loot every time you kill something, right? So that would be great if you could sort of deck build while you're doing that. Now imagine this, and I even had this as a thought when I was putting this into my old cabeza. So are you guys familiar with Pandemic? Have you ever heard of Pandemic?
Yeah.
Like the little app on your phone?
No, the game. There's a game. It's a board game.
It's a game.
Okay.
It's basically like a virus is spreading, and you have to okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
So what they did, and it's sort of one of the bigger ones. I recommend people go out and check it out. But that was one of the first games that I heard of when they developed a legacy. So that's becoming a very popular way to play board games. And what legacy is that there's scenarios. They have it for Pandemic. I also have it for Clank, which is an awesome board game. Probably my number one board game is Clank. But it's a one-time playthrough, right? And you build these scenarios. You tear up some of the cards that are sold with the game. You open up new packs of cards that have new things that are introduced to the game, whether they're enemies or gear for you. So imagine if they had different types of packs from Flesh and Blood. Some of them are for the players to open and build their decks with, and some of them are treasure packs or enemy packs
Right.
that you buy with your box, or it's a sealed box set that has like 25 packs that you build characters with, 5 packs of monsters, 5 packs of treasure, right? Just think of that. And so that each time you sit down, it'll be a different experience because there'll be different cards in those, and there'll be different rarities in those of the different things that you don't even know what to expect. So you open the treasure deck, you don't look at it, you put it face down, and as you're playing, boom, you draw a card. And that now becomes part of your deck out of the treasure deck. Or boom, you play, here's a new monster, right?
Yeah, like the community chest pile in Monopoly.
Yes, very much.
You constantly add in a booster pack of random cards into it, and then you shuffle it up, and okay, maybe I got a common from a set 2 sets ago, or I get myself a solid uncommon from the most new one that we just put in tonight.
Or a mythic or a legendary or a cold foil one. Like the ways that they could go with this could potentially explode if they do it right.
Have either of you ever played Gloomhaven?
No, but I've seen it. That's a very intensive game.
It's by far the best game I've ever played board game wise. It blows away everything. It is expensive to get into, but it is 100% worth it. I mean, a group of 4 or 5 people that I played with, we played just the base board game. It's like $150, $200. It's a lot, but that had enough content to last us. I think it was over a year of playing every Thursday, and maybe we missed a couple, but like we played. There's over 100 scenarios you play through. Your characters level up. You retire characters. You build new ones. You get gear. I mean, if it's anything like Gloomhaven, I'm in 100%. It's going to be the best. It'll destroy Commander. It'll blow it out of the water.
This is what I'm saying.
Like Gloomhaven.
You guys you're starting to get it, Matt. Where my brain is going, where they can, if they truly nail this, it could dethrone Magic, which I would say very few things have that ability. Because Magic hasn't really grown their game.
Well, that's one of the big things. Introducing new mechanics, new gameplay style, completely different. You know, a small tweak of initiative, adventure, adventure. You know, these little bit of adding in dungeon cards. It's nice to see some forward push in the game, but when they seem like a train on tracks, you can make curves, but it's going straight real fast. Whereas something that's a new ship in the sea, this can make a lot bigger curves. They can switch what kind of port they're going to. They're early enough in the game, as far as a product line, that they can certainly grow in not just the way they're distributing cards with first edition, unlimited. Maybe that's not the pull anymore. Maybe it's, I opened up this box, and instead of just 36 regular packs, 24 packs, whatever it is, maybe it's 8 loot packs and 8 hero packs. Oh shit!
I think World of Warcraft tradable card game did do that. They had raid decks that they created. Very few people ever played that. I actually even have one of the raid decks, and they do have loot packs in the raid deck. Like somebody has to take over running that, which is much like the archenemy Nicol Bolas. And Magic has recognized it. They've given a nod that there's sort of a desire to have this out there. They just haven't had the it factor. They didn't put the peanut butter together with the jelly yet. They haven't put the peanut butter with the chocolate yet, because you have it with the archenemy. You have Plane Chase out there. You had game nights. You have the unsets. They understand. They even had that stupid board game that nobody likes. You said they've recognized, even Magic has recognized, that we need some sort of fertile ground to grow, to plant some seeds in. But I think that Legend Story Studios might beat them to the punch here. And if Legend Story Studios becomes the first one to have a game like that, that's a completely different cooperative gameplay style that introduces that gambler's element into it. And I keep throwing gambler's element because I don't know what else to call it. That's why people crack packs, the scratch off cards, whatever.
The loot box.
I think you have a potential hit on your hands there if they can do that.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I think they said fall of this year.
So I'm very hyped to
Mm.
to see that coming. I think that could be an evolution in gaming for collectible card games. Right? It would be something entirely different. I don't know how they'll maintain the current, 1v1 positive play group. They should not turn their back on that. But to expand and add it to their arsenal, I think would be the right move. They should not replace their arsenal with it. But I think there's certainly a lot of room, and if they're going to go down that path, when you invoke things like Diablo, what is Diablo truly defined by? People call it a loot slot machine, right?
Yeah.
You go and kill shit till something drops that you really love, and there's lots of garbage you got to filter through to get to what you want. So if they can put that, think about it. That goes back to the idea, Pat, where why do they put so much garbage in these packs and when you really want one or two cards? Well, that's what Diablo does. You got to go through a ton of garbage to know what the good things are. So why not do that in loot packs? I mean, they should hire me. they should, as a consultant, like, guys, I don't know how you do it, but you need to add these elements in the game, right? You do it, but like, I think it's a beautiful idea. I was sitting there, I was like, that was actually in my thinking throne room when that dawned on me that they could have loot packs like the legacy style Pandemic, legacy style Clink, where it's a one-time playthrough, which is essentially what you could have in a sealed box with loot packs and enemy packs and player packs, that you could, why not put 3 different style of packs in a box or even make different style boxes? Who the hell knows?
Oh yeah, there you go. You have you sell the 3 different product line, loot pack, hero pack, enemy pack or something. Yeah. So instead of unlimited and collectors, okay, now you can only get a certain type of card in a certain product line like that, and they still have that chase card, but it's in their standard type set. Instead of going
at any rate, I mean, it's unlimited the ways that they could go if they want to, kind of kick down that door. But we'll go back to the whole, you got to make it fun. It's got to be fun to play. Having it too complex and whatnot doesn't mean jack if it's not fun.
Go big or go home. They've got some real big competition. So why stop now? They've got to kind of push the limits. You don't want to go out the way of the Transformers card game. No. You want to be remembered at least Yu-Gi-Oh quality.
I mean, if there's one thing that LSS has done well is they've created a good game that is different than the rest that does play well. So if they can continue to bring that into the PvE part, then yeah, they'll kill it.
I'm definitely going to check out some gameplay of that tonight after we're done here. I'm definitely interested in picking up some Blitz decks. I've got some adventurous guys in my pod, so I think at least 1 or 2 people would be up for getting in some new card game action.
The thing that I like best about Flesh and Blood over Magic is that, that feeling when you're playing a Magic deck where you just get land screwed and you're just like, land flooded. Either one of the land screwed or land flooded to me are one of the biggest feel bad of Magic. Flesh and Blood doesn't have mana screw. It doesn't have mana flood. It just doesn't, because every card is a card and a mana source. So you're almost always going to be able to do something decent. There's never a single turn where you do nothing. You're always going to do something. And not to mention, and not only that, is there's very few interactions. There's no counter spells. It's 2 dudes in an arena fighting it out, and it's just, you're throwing cards at each other. There's very few like gotcha moments. There are like defense reactions and stuff, but it's always like, it makes sense. You're like parrying the sword that they're swinging at you with, and there's not like unlimited combos. I mean, there are, but they're so rare that it's just like never going to happen. Like 1 in 1,000 games, you might have some kind of like, you can blow through your entire deck, and it's so uncommon. So there's it's more of like punching each other in the face for, 15 turns, as opposed to somebody just getting completely demolished. It's very well tuned.
What I'll say to that, and I agree with you, but that's when I look at the game and I go, it's too linear. You don't have alternate play styles of the mills, of the stacks, of the counter spells. And you have to acknowledge that people want to have different styles of play rather than just creature thugging, which is what you're talking about, what Magic kind of used to be.
There's control decks, there's aggro decks, there's mid-range, there's a variety.
But it's more linear than Magic.
Yeah,
and that's where I think that's why the multiplayer is probably a little less fun, because you don't have the elements that you have in Magic, where it's a broader range of things that you can do in Magic, not just because of the number of cards.
That's not what I
But
wanted.
like you said, I think that's one of the things that bothers me about Flesh and Blood, is it pretty much is that, like, you're just standing there kind of duking it out back and forth. Like, I think that they do need to broaden the play styles. Like, Magic has that, the creativity with the different things that you can connect together. You have more Legos in your box, so to speak.
Mm.
Well,
Not just
yeah, they've got 20-something years of Legos,
but
30 years
even
or
early
whatever.
on, even within the first 5 sets, they're more dimensional than the first 5 sets of Flesh and Blood, and Flesh and Blood is designed that way, so it's going to limit.
Yeah, I mean, there's no creatures on the field that ever stay there, so you're never going to have like board wipe or removal or anything like that. So there's a lot of those kind of cards that just can't exist in Flesh and Blood. But I think to me that's a good thing. If I want to play Magic, I'll play Magic. If I want to play Flesh and Blood, I'll play Flesh and Blood. I want them to be different. I don't want them to be the same.
No, I agree with you.
So it's a nice thing. It's kind of a relief to be like. I remember talking to Nate, a good buddy of mine, that we play on Thursdays. He said that when he first started playing Flesh and Blood, it was great to just be able to just not have to worry about, like, there's so much thinking in Magic when you're wanting to win, you're wanting to play competitively, and there's 30, however many thousands of cards you have to remember, and what does that card do? And in Flesh and Blood, when you're just playing against one hero, you only really need to know like 50 cards, and like a lot of the times, especially if they're net decking, the amount of cards you need to play around is so, like, it is very much like you're reading your opponent. It's very much a duel as opposed to a combat. I don't know. I don't know. I like it. I like that they're different enough. So
no, I agree with that, and I don't know what the right answer is for the perfect mix. I'm just saying it feels very linear compared to Magic.
Yeah.
And if anyone has any comments or suggestions, put them right down below. We'd love to address those at a later date. We're seeing a lot of people that like this content, not just while we're doing it live, but going back and watching it. So please, if you haven't subscribed to these guys' channel, go ahead, make sure you're doing that as well. These guys are kicking ass, taking names. Check out some great stuff over on that.
I've got this. I've got to make thumbnails for it. Then I'm gonna start releasing it.
Oh,
I did
by the
this
way, that's
like
MTG. Sorry, it's MTG Gaming Bob. Just here on who to go check out. It's MTG Gaming Bob, and that includes me and Matt.
There's probably a link in the description of some sort. Yeah. But yeah, I've got this like interesting. I think it's interesting. I tried to make it somewhat comical and somewhat informational, but I've got this like tournament of sleeves. I call it like the tournament of champion of sleeves. I got 8 different sleeves that I had laying around, like sleeve brands and types, and I kind of just did like a tournament style of eliminations, like picking the best budget sleeves versus the best premium that I had, and then have it like just doing different kinds of categories where they compete against each other. I just got to make some thumbnails and throw them up, but like 8 videos or 9 videos I've got of that. It was pretty interesting. One of the categories was what did I call it? The crunch factor or something like that, to where like when you go to smash the 2 halves of a deck together, if it makes that crunchy crappy sound that I don't like. So I rated it from 0 being smooth peanut butter to 10 being the crunchiest peanut butter. Just, I don't know. It was a late night.
You heard it here first. Sleeves or peanut butter?
Sleeves, smooth like peanut butter.
All right, that's about all I have for tonight, folks. Personally,
Oh my God.
Well, now you need to just put sleeves in there and do a real peanut butter test.
Ooh. Oh my God, that's Dave, please Dave kind of video. Smooth as peanut butter. Look.
Don't disclaimer. Don't put your sleeves in peanut butter.
Seems like not really a stream type of guy, but we might be able to work a little bit on that. Same thing with Ed.
What I should have done is I should have had crunchy peanut butter with me and then normal peanut butter, and had like a spoonful of smooth and a spoonful of crunchy, and went, I don't know, these sleeves are like a 6, and then eat a sleeve. But not actually eat the sleeve.
No, I will do this. I'll echo your shout out there, Pat. I love having other content creators on here as well. Hopefully we can get Dual Brain on here one of these days. I know that I reached out to Unhinged Magi and got a little nibble, so hopefully they'll find some time in their schedule. We've already had Nikachu on, and he was excellent at Coding
awesome.
Cards and Feldy.
Yeah.
All
of our guests so far have been great.
Yeah,
and
right.
Most of the people in the community.
That going.
There's a couple of content creators I don't want on the stream. I'll take that night off if they're on here. Just don't mix. But that's everybody. Not everybody likes pickles with their peanut butter.
Yeah, take that, Mr. Beast.
But yeah, no, I'm calling you out, Ed, from Dual Brain. I want to see you on here. I never get enough. I feel like I always want to say more to Ed on the round table, and I just kind of get cut off at the knees before the conversation gets going.
There's a lot going on over there, so sometimes it's hard to let more reserved people get their time to breathe.
Yeah, he's got a lot of great thoughts. I mean,
actually, he's probably streaming right now. I wouldn't be surprised. We're kind of running in each other's time slots on Saturday nights.
He was. He's already ended. He already started at 8 and ended at 9.
Dang.
Yeah, but you know what? If we're going on something, no offense, but even if nobody's watching, I dig doing these Saturday night gigs. So hopefully people enjoy it as much as I do.
Yeah, I look forward to the ones I can make for sure. I guess I get a little disappointed when I can't make it, but then I'm bowling, so I'm happy.
Yeah,
this is my fun for Saturday nights, whether there's 0 watching or 10,000 watching. You know, hopefully you guys feel that genuineness here. That this is what we like to do. It's our thing.
Yeah, specifically set a time for doing this. I mean, I love having these conversations, and I don't get to have them all too often. So,
in the summertime, I'll have more. I'll be able to make more of them because there won't be any bowling, as long as my family doesn't decide that they want to do a summer league, which is possible, but we'll see.
I did have one more thing, because I haven't talked to you guys about it, so you guys are going to hear it live on stream for the first time. Since now New Capenna is all spoiled. You know, Matt and I we didn't do a should you buy Kamigawa. I'll give a quick 10-second thumbs up for Kamigawa. I think it's a good. Would you buy? I would. I think it's good. So what do you guys think about Kamigawa? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah, it's good, but yeah, I don't know. I don't want to buy the boxes at the hype price, so I'm just kind of waiting for them to just
that's where I'm at.
reprinted and pushed out, and then maybe I'll buy a couple.
Yeah,
so overall,
overall
thoughts of New Capenna.
Same kind of deal. I mean, I think it's a fine enough set. It's not blowing things out. There's some pretty solid ads as far as that goes, but New Capenna sounds like old news pretty quick.
There's that one angel that they're printing that is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what the hell they were thinking.
And there's that sword
every set has that card. Your old Gnawbone, your Meat Hook Massacre, your
I was talking about old Gnawbone the other day. He doesn't see play ever, but he's so good. Nobody plays him. I've never seen none of my friends play him. I don't see him on streams. Nobody plays him. So weird. He's so good.
Some of those
Toxtrol.
You know, these dragons coming in.
Okay.
I love
some of the worst sets have some fantastic cards. Consider, they're great cards in those bad sets.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, Giada, Font of Hope. She's 2 mana for 2/2 flying Vig. Each other angel you control enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it for each angel that you already control, and she ramps for angels. She's freaking insane. What were they thinking?
Angels need more help. You're going to have those 1 or 2 cards, but I'm not feeling the excitement for New Capenna. The artwork was slight bit of a letdown, and that's what I was looking forward to most.
Yeah.
The Triome, not Triomes, are probably the best part of the set.
Yep.
At all.
Yeah.
Bootlegger Stash. That's another good one. That's nuts. I don't know if that got released today.
It between the two. If I was going to buy a box, if I'm dropping $100 and I could buy New Capenna or I'm buying Kamigawa, I'm buying Kamigawa. If those are my choices, I'm still saving money. People were talking earlier in the chat about Brothers War. Nah, I wouldn't say that's the hype set. Nope. Double bubble Fully Trippy Masters is where it's going to be at. I'm going to put my plant my flag in the ground. But I disagree. I think that the big hype set this year is going to be Double Bubble Masters. As far as standard sets, we'll see. I mean, people are banking that on not seeing a single card out of it yet. People were saying the same shit about Dungeons and Dragons, and it went wah-wah.
Yeah.
So we'll wait and see. I don't know what to expect out of Brothers War. I do know what to kind of expect out of Double Masters, right? They've set the precedent. Now, if they go downhill with Double Masters 2022 from Double Masters, I think it's sort of a kamikaze for the next Double Masters that would come out. Like, it will taint their Double Masters, which is their big moneymaker.
I think for me, one of the most set in stone buys, no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm getting those Warhammer 40K commander decks. I'm getting at least one of every. I'm hoping to get 2 of everyone, and one to keep, one to play. Bust it open, do some damage with it. But I gotta say, I don't even play Warhammer. I don't think I've ever actually seen it played in front of me either. But I just love the lore to it. It definitely drags me right in, and I would just be terribly fraught with anger if they didn't get some good artwork on that.
I think that's a polarizing product. So I think there's going to be some people out there that absolutely get it and some people that don't. I'm curious about it, but I'm sort of backing off a lot of the secret layers because the prices just seem to be hiking with a decrease in the quality of product, with the level of product, I should say. Like this latest super drop is a hard pass for me. Like I bought none of this April super drop. I thought it was crap. I mean, I like the commander cards in it, the Brea and whatnot, but I can pass. I'm fine with passing on that. It's just different artwork on cards that already exist, but nothing is a set in stone buy for me. Not even Double Bubble Flippy Masters. I have to see what's in it first, but my gut instinct is that it's going to be a banger of a product. Warhammer stuff.
Yeah.
Totes.
Yeah,
I've seen it played in
Warhammer stuff. It's a complicated game to try to learn. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, they were out there with like protractors and rulers and calculators, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm out.
I just love the lore. There's this guy that makes content, Lutein like 09 on YouTube. Big shout out. Honestly, that guy, he makes like hour-long videos on like the Euconopolis worlds of like the Empire of Man. Like just the lore behind it is phenomenal. It's like listening to a fantasy in the future. Elves, goblins, orcs, they've got all that shit, but they're floating around between like demon realms and stuff. It's real cool. Like I don't even know if I'd ever want to play the game. I just love listening to that stuff. It's super interesting.
The thing I found with Warhammer was that on the surface it seems super, super fun, and even playing it is fun, but it takes forever. It takes hours to play a game. And that's what shut me off.
Says the guy who plays Gloomhaven.
Yeah, but Gloomhaven, like, you can get multiple scenarios in that. I'm talking one singular combat. As far as I don't know, maybe it's because we didn't know the game that much, but like every combat for us took like literal hours. It felt like it was forever. I don't know.
So, just to put this into perspective, when we're talking about Double Masters, let me ask you guys this: how much would you like to be able to buy a draft box of Double Masters at $300 right now?
Shit, son.
I probably wouldn't.
I do
what?
It. Yeah.
They're $600 a box now.
The previous set.
Well, I probably won't buy any then. I'm not.
What I'm saying is that's what Double Masters did in less than 2 years.
Oh, you're talking about the set that previously, not the next set.
Yeah. No,
I thought you were saying the new set. I'm like, I'm not paying $600 a box for a new set.
That is coming out at $300, which was a sticker shock, and they're sending out collector boxes that have 4 packs in them for $275, so about $75 a pack. So what I'm saying is the sticker shock is terrible, right?
Yeah.
But look at the VIP packs that everybody bitched at $100 coming out, now approaching $200 a pack.
Over, yeah.
The draft boxes that people bitched at coming out at $300 a box are now approaching $700. Yeah. So you're going to tell me that they're going to take that? If that's not a flagship, I don't know what is. They're going to take the follow-on product to that and make it a pooper? I doubt it.
it's tough. You know, we've seen nothing coming out on Double Masters Squared, so it's always a gamble on what's coming up. But
It can't fail though. Like you just reprint a bunch of expensive cards and it's a success. Easy.
Right.
Like, how does it fail?
Something you can't guarantee with standard boxes, which is what's going to happen with Brothers War and Dominaria, right? They've had stinker standard sets. These Masters products, rarely are they bad. So if I'm hoarding my money, I'm going to wait to at least see the cards that are in it. And if I see Imperial Seal in that thing, if I see Phyrexian Altar and Jace and Liliana and Renin 6 and, just we can go on and on and on and on and on.
Throw Metacrypt in it again. Why the hell not? Another doubling season reprint.
Lotus, throw that in there. Why not?
I think
a Ragavan or Dockside Extortionist.
Dockside, yeah.
I'm just saying that there's so much that they can put in there. And people, you can tell me all you want right now. Oh, blah, blah, boo. No, not going to happen. And, dude, they put Cavern of Souls in there again. They put so much Emperor Seal. Yeah. It's or Imperial Seal. Emperor's Imperial Seal, maybe?
I think it's Imperial Seal.
An $800 card, right? Now, of course, that'll cut it down to a $100 card, but people will be all up in it. Yeah, there's so much they can throw in there that make it juice at $300. It's like, don't kid yourself, people. They want to sell it, and they want to force us to buy ever more expensive products. So I could be wrong, and I am willing to admit that could be wrong. And I'm telling everybody right now, I'm waiting until I see the complete spoiler before I drop $2,000 on it. But I want to have $2,000 ready to launch at it, especially for the single run products. Now, I probably won't. I'll even tell you guys this right now. My investment strategy for it. The collector boxes are going to be, from what we understand, a one and done, right? Those are the products that once they start climbing, don't look back, right? The draft boxes will probably be print to demand to an extent, right? It's probably not going to have a huge print run because they're so pricey. So you're just not going to have the type of demand that you have for, standard boxes that are easier to buy at $89, $100 a box.
Yeah, but what are they going to be, like $600 for a collector's?
No, they're $275.
I thought you were saying so the draft double bubble is going to be $90.
No, the draft boxes are going to be $300.
So how much are the collectors of those?
$275.
Why are they less?
Because there's only 4 packs in it.
Oh, yeah, that's horrible.
So $75 a pack.
Jesus.
Yeah, well, see, that's that sticker. That's that sticker shock that they have to get us over. But tell me you wouldn't buy a VIP pack for $75. And here's where I'm going to be very curious. Let's put it this way, Matt. You say, would you buy a $100 single pack of Magic? Because that's what Double Masters VIP was.
I mean, after watching a lot of them opened, they looked like they had juice in them. Some of them were duds, but most of them were pretty insane.
Let me ask you this. How many juice cards did they have in a single pack?
A lot.
No.
2.
The ones I was opening, they were like, it was like swords and like.
Let's hold it. There's a possibility of 4.
There was like 2 really good ones usually per pack.
There could be up to 4. But do you know how many cards are going to be in those collector packs? 15. So what's going to be critical is what is the structure of it? Did they cut all? Did anybody give 2 shits about the VIP basic lands, even though they were John Avon and all that? Nah, they're $5, $10 cards. Nobody cared.
Right.
All the foil commons and uncommons. Did anybody give a shit?
No, they go right through those, which is nuts to watch.
What did you care about out of a pack of 30? I think it was 30 or 31 cards or some shit like that. 33 cards in the VIP. You cared
uncommons
about
and the rares or mythics.
4 cards. All the rares and mythics. That's it. That's all you really cared about. And really, it's only 2. The borderless ones. I happen to get a foil in the regular slot, Mana Crypt. So, okay, I cared about that one. So it's 4 cards you care about. They could even be 4-card packs if they're all box toppers.
Right.
So 15 cards in a pack, you might go, nah, $75 a pack, get bent. But if they juice it,
right,
all you need is 4. And those packs are $200 a pop right now, the VIP ones. for 4 cards that people are looking for.
You can, I mean, just today, like I said, you know, we were opening Ikoria collectors. You get a deflecting swat, a fierce guardianship. I mean, out of a $20-something pack, and now you're going up to $50, $60, $70 for a single. When you're juicing up and you're paying $75 for a pack, and that's current pre-market prices, I can't see those not being filled with goody 2 shoes, all sorts of stuff that we want to get. Now, there's loads of good stuff that is ready for reprinting right in that $50 to $100 spot. That $75 to $125 spot, maybe.
I've still never opened a collector's box or collector's pack at all.
Well, there's a lot of people that do. I mean, and the numbers point to that's the way to invest. I mean, they're all going up. Sorry.
Yeah.
It says collector right on the box. That's the
And that's not to open them. You're supposed to collect the packs.
Yeah. And they're one and done print runs. And we don't know if they put something special in there. Let's say they juice it even more. Serialized cards, and you can only get them. Serialized potential Soul Ring. Neon Art Soul Ring.
No, I foresee a specific kind of foiling because they're toying with that, like the cold foil. What are they? The foil etched, and then there's the gold gilded cards in New Capenna. Those could be interesting.
So I'm just saying, there's a ton that they could do to change your mind that a $75 pack is okay. I can do that. So
they could do like a special seeded, like you could have a chance of getting a masterpiece. In one of every 1,000 packs.
They know how to get you to spend your money on it.
Yeah.
And I'm saying with these Masters products, they can do things they can't do in Standard.
Yeah.
Seriously, absolutely. Because Standard, you upset too many formats, right? You make it bad. You upset them buying products that are still in print. Masters, they don't have to worry about that. They're a little more wide open to reprint different things. You know? Additionally, at these price points, they understand they got to lure people into buying them, and they're playing with the price point. And I'm actually kind of surprised that they didn't. Do you know what Double Masters in 2020 released at?
It was what,
$340. $340 a box.
And nowadays, that's a pretty tasty price.
So
this is why I don't buy the collector's
Double
packs.
Masters. Yeah, but now don't you wish you had? They're freaking $600, almost $700 a box.
Well, no, because back then, if I would have bought it, I would have opened it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Well, okay. I can't help you there, I'm saying, but I'm just trying to put it into perspective, right? That if you buy these things and the product to target, there's no. Let's put it this way: what standard product in 2020 standard product has doubled to date?
Adventures of the Forgotten. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, right.
2020. So we're talking Theros Beyond Death, Ikoria, Core 21, and Zendikar Rising.
I don't think any of them have doubled.
How many of those have doubled? You're right. None is the answer.
Now, the funny thing is I still struggle to this day with buying the product and not opening it. It feels so bad. Like I got a case of Jumpstart, and I'm like, immediately when I got it, I'm like, you guys want to play some Jumpstart? And I'm like, in my head, I'm just like,
that's why the alligator graph works, Matt. You are the type of person that is creating the endangered species. And so you have to pay that premium down the line if you want that endangered species. That's why Revised is $13,000 a box.
Because people open that shit.
Yep.
Because it was hard for everybody not to open it.
Yep. Because everybody wants to that gets involved. So you're paying for that discipline. You're paying for that storage. You're paying for that care and handling of something over a long period of time. You're paying for that discipline.
Getting stolen
every time you see Joey Moss open an old box, another old box gets an extra $100 bill on it.
Yep.
Yeah. Especially ones that how much you have a general idea of how many are in circulation.
So I wouldn't mind having a case of Double Masters 2022, and even if you charge me $1,200 for it, I'd buy it in a heartbeat. I'm sorry, Commander Legend. I'm sorry, jeez, Double Masters from 2020, I would buy for $1,200 all day long. They were 4-box cases. Additionally, I hated those those box designs. Those are the ones that have the squishiness, the little cardboard thing because they wanted an angle and it's just garbage. But they said they're going to have 6-box cases, which tells me that they've gone back to the flat packs
Yeah, they
no
already
extra
did.
space.
They did that for Crimson Vow.
So, like the set boxes, I'm glad. Good on you,
Yeah.
Watsy, for changing that, and hopefully they've done the same.
They're so annoying.
Sorry, you can bring that up from Savannah Lion, and
Yeah.
I love Savannah Lion. Thank you so much for showing up again. We've missed you.
Yeah,
No,
love you.
you're effing wrong.
Ah,
I am definitely all about the double bubble flippy masters. I mean, I'm saying it now. I'm trying to say at the top of my lungs, guys. Be aware. This is what you're going to want. I'm just putting it out there.
I'm gonna laugh
Bob,
when
take
they
it for what it's worth, but that's what I'm doing.
I'm gonna laugh when they release the spoilers and it's just a friggin' dud.
and it's a dumpster fire.
It's gonna be so unlikely. It's so hard to fail. I don't see how they could mess it up.
I'll switch my name to MTG Sad Bob. But I
hey, then you'll have more money for Brothers War.
What's that?
I said if it flops, you'll have more money to put into Brothers War.
That's true, and that's the thing, right? I kind of did that in a funky way with AFR. So give you the backstory on that. I don't think any of us were like in contact with each other again about Magic. Maybe I was with you a little bit, Matt, about the upcoming AFR set. You know, I was.
You were gonna buy a lot of it at one point. You had cancel orders and shit.
Yeah, I pre-ordered that shit. I pre-ordered $2,400 worth of AFR.
Yeah,
I did. I had the order in, and then I had it in through Game Nerds, and then they spoiled it, and that spoiled it. I was like, oh shit. So I asked them, hey, can I cancel this order? I don't mind putting it into Modern. I wasn't even in on my. If you go back and look at my other videos from wherever I was at publicly, I was not about Modern Horizons 2. I was like, F that. I'm not buying a box of $200 a piece, blah, blah, blah. That's garbage. Vote with your wallet. No.
Yeah.
And then AFR came out and everything changed.
Yeah, right.
And I said, well, you know what? They're releasing Modern Horizons 2. Just put it into there instead. It was early enough that they hadn't even released Modern Horizons 2, and I just shifted the bulk of it. I think I kept like $200 worth of AFR product, and I shifted the rest into Modern Horizons 2. And I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
I still think AFR is going to age well.
I don't. I mean, none of it. Don't get me wrong. When I talk about these shitty sets, look, Fallen Empires and Homelands went up. Just not as fast as everything else around them. So if you're investing that amount of money, put it in something that's rising faster. Go with the faster race car. Because what?
What the race? It only matters if you plan to sell soon. It does because what I'm saying is over the course of time.
Over the course of time, it's not
could overtake certain sets.
No, it will not. AFR will never outpace
AFR to 1K.
There's no way it's going to outpace the game.
Going up.
Dollar for dollar of Modern Horizons 2. Never happened. Not on this universe.
Well, no, not Modern Horizons.
Okay, I'm saying for dollar, buy Modern Horizons 2.
But you can get 2 boxes, almost 3 boxes for the price of 1 Modern Horizons box. So maybe value-wise, if in bulk.
No, it won't. That's what I'm saying. Dollar for dollar, Modern Horizons 2 is going to continue to outpace AFR.
Maybe I'll have to buy a few cases of AFR.
I'm still preaching Ikoria collectors.
I like Ikoria. That's not a bad product.
Yeah, Ikoria is great. I need to probably buy more of those. I don't have any boxes of Ikoria.
I think because of what you're talking about with the lower price point having more room to move, the Commander Legends. Now, I wouldn't take that bet. I don't know which one's going to
Legends is hot.
Increase at a greater percentage, dollar for dollar. Commander Legends 1 or Modern Horizons 2. That's a bet I won't make.
I love this guy.
That would be a very difficult one to put your money on. Which one of those two is going to outpace? Is 2 boxes of Commander Legends 1 in 5 years worth more than 1 box of Modern Horizons 2? Oof, I don't know.
I think Rudy's got a pretty. My thought on that is it easier for a box that's 100 to go to 200, or is it harder for a box to go from 200 to 400? So at
this point, I'm just messing with Bob.
Yeah.
Well, but that's why I said, look it was much easier for a $300 box to go to 600 than a $100 box to go to 200. Far easier.
I wonder what the print run of those were. I can't imagine they were printed anywhere near as much as any other normal set.
I'm just saying.
Availability as well helps.
Lie. The numbers don't lie, and I went back and looked historically. If you look at like Gate Crash and Dragon's Maze, 9 years later, it's $130 a box when it was released at $95 a box. And then you look at the Masters products that were released around that time that are 3 times as expensive as they were at release. So one box gained 30% over 9 years, and another box gained 300% over 9 years. So even though it was twice as expensive, more than twice as expensive. So it's, you can't compare apples to oranges, and that's what they are. And there's no way, but I'll tell you right now, AFR, no, not a chance in hell of outpacing the gains of Modern Horizons 2. Never. I'll put money, I'll put a card, I'll bet on that. And we can even say the marker and come back to this in 2 years, 4 years, 5 years.
I never said it was going to outpace Modern Horizons.
I'm talking about dollar for dollar. $200 worth of AFR will not outpace a $200 box of MH2, period. Sorry, it's just not going to happen.
It is easier to sell. Coach has a good point. It's easier to sell one product than, like, if you have like 100 boxes of, AFR versus 40 boxes of,
Hey, it looks like you got a new fan.
I am hot. There's a lot of, anyways. But it's also far more difficult, and I've talked about this with my friend, that you have these price cliffs, right? That people are just out. You outprice your audience at a certain price point. There are far fewer people that can buy a $600 box of Double Masters than can buy a $100 box of Zendikar Rising. Like, your buying audience is much larger at smaller scales. So it does become far more difficult, and I acknowledge that. But I'm a patient guy, and when you start talking about investing in Magic, and we've said this before, you need to be responsible with your money. This is money that needs to be in your gambling fund that you buy lottery tickets and scratch off, or your budget for whatever you want to screw around with. All right, fine. You know what? Hold that thought. You guys talk.
This is what we're doing.
Oh yeah, Bob, I got you.
This is like trigger warning. Trigger. Versus the MH2 set. I mean, it's a solid.
Why is it so bright? Oh my god, calm down, light.
Yeah.
The big fluffy boxes. These are before they changed the set boosters, because this is a set booster.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
I lied. It's a draft booster. I take it back. I thought I bought set boosters of AFR. Whoops.
Man, one of the hard things about opening up boxes is wanting to sell cards so you can keep getting back into it. It's like Fierce Guardianship. I want to sell it. It's worth a bunch of money, but I also want
mine.
To it. It's just going to keep going up. I pull up the MTG stocks like I'm a financier, and I'm looking at, sealed box prices and stuff. I mean, Bob over here flexing. Like that Commander Legends. You're probably not going to ever open that, right?
No, that one. These actually, I actually have a few of these. I have a funny story about them. I was just pointing it out. This this box, along with 2 others exactly like it, I bought as a Christmas gift for myself. I pre-ordered them. I got in on these at my price point ended up all 3 being $230 each, because I pre-ordered them. Long story behind that, but I bought them as a Christmas gift for myself. Right? This was supposed to be opened for Christmas of 2020.
I would have opened it.
The day that I went to pick these up from the store, they had them listed. Like, I got mine for $230 that I prepaid, and I just went in and picked them up. And he had them on the shelf for $300 the day of release. I was like, ooh, maybe I won't open that?
35% increase.
And I was waiting for it to. No, that's a 50% increase, almost. I was waiting for them to kind of deflate. Like I thought it was just FOMO and whatnot, and I'm like, well, I'll just wait. And I had 3 of them.
Oh.
I was like, I'll
They're
just try.
$620 now.
Yeah. And
I didn't realize the collector displays were that much. Were they not printed that much? Was there like some kind of printing thing?
Exactly.
I was like, why are they so high? Holy.
Right. So at any rate, so it was like a gift to myself. I had a good year, great promotion, and I was like rewarding myself that this is what I'm going to do to be nice to myself for Christmas. And it was expensive. You know, it was $700 worth of boxes. And I was going to crack them. And I thought that they would go down.
Ooh.
Well, by Christmas, they were like $320 a box. I was like, shit. I'm waiting for this fall off to happen. Now they did drop down to 250 when Amazon did like an instant flash sale. I did not get on it. I didn't see it. But no, I had intended fully to open those. I had not really started a sealed collection by that point. Had not really done it.
Actually, one of the things that got me to Magic was, so I had played in high school and such, but I got back in exactly for Time Spiral Remastered coming back out. I had extra time and some extra money and saw Slivers were coming back and all sorts of retro cards. So I said, hey, this is what I want to do. I got some buddies that would play with me. So fun time. Let's get into it. And then bang, see that went up so much that there was an investable side to it. And then we're getting into Ikoria, Commander Legends right there at the same time. So there was a lot of getting into that sealed product right out of the gate for me when I got back into it. So the finance side is surprisingly big in my interest into Magic.
The funny thing about sealed product in Magic,
Never.
I swore up and down. I'm the biggest hypocrite at the moment. I swore up and down. I'm like, the people that buy product and don't open them, those guys are crazy. I said other words, but I'll just go with crazy. I was like, those idiots. Like, why the hell wouldn't you buy a box that you didn't plan to open? That's just so stupid. And then meanwhile, I have thousands of dollars of boxes just sitting in my closet, and it pains me. But I just look at the history, and if you're looking to do investments and you're investing into stocks and cryptocurrencies, it's just another form of investment. So do your own research and place your own money where you think it's going to go up. And if you look at the history of Magic, they all go up. There's not a single box that will not go up once it's out of print and has a few years. As long as you wait, it will go up in price. Even AFR right now, I'm looking at TCG 153 for a collector boosters. I might buy some of these. That's insane. There's no way you lose money on that. It can't go lower.
You want a secret confession?
I bet you collector boosters are doubling in price over the next year for AFR. I'd bet money on that.
From 150?
Yeah, 150 to 300 in a year. I'd bet money on that.
I'll take that bet.
Year 225.
I'll take that bet. And why don't we make it more interesting? So mark the date on the calendar. My birthday's on Monday, so we'll know.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you. So next birthday, if AFR is 300, I will buy whatever standard box for you. If I am wrong, I don't think it'll be 300. I think it will be less. If it's 300 or more, I buy you a box. If it's less than 300, you buy me a box.
Sure.
I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. So we making a deal? There it is. You got it, people.
Sure. I have absolutely no. Well, hold on. When does it go to print? It doesn't matter.
One standard draft box. One standard draft box of whatever is coming out in April next year.
Yeah. What I was saying is, I don't know when AFR is going out of print, but I imagine it'll be out of print by then.
Oh, well, the collector boxes are already out of print. They have been.
Oh, good.
Excellent. They only do a one and done.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if they did reprints of that.
Nope. They do not do reprints for collector boxes.
Yeah, Savannah, don't feel bad. I bought 3 cases of Tales of Aria. One was a pre-release for $600. One was a pre-release for $450, and then I bought one for $400. So don't feel bad. Yeah, I've made mistakes too. I still believe they're gonna go up, but it's gonna be a little while.
All right. So do we want to get to my confession?
Sure.
And Matt, you've seen my seal collection, and it's grown since the last time you saw it.
Yeah.
Someday I might open it all. Not all at once, but I'm hoping that I'm in a financial position where I don't have to sell
You
them.
just don't need it. Yeah. You can just enjoy it.
How cool would that be in 10 years? What do you think this Joker is going to be in 10 years?
Ooh, fuck.
10 grand. Who knows?
I don't think it's that high. Though I'm
20
far more
grand.
excited, in all honesty, to have a bunch of friends over and crack that in 10 years.
Right.
And play.
And realistically, one of the crazy things is there's like a 50% chance that you get a jeweled lotus in a box. I mean, I've probably opened up like
lower than that.
I don't know, man. I
opened 5 boxes and got 1.
I was gonna say I've opened 7 and gotten like 3.
I opened 5 and got 1, and actually Matt was the guy who opened it.
I was like, oh shit.
I mean, 1 and 3.
Yeah, he actually spoiled the pack because we were drafting, and he spoiled the
I didn't even grab it. I'm like, I don't want this fucking card.
Didn't you also get a foil mana drain out of that same box?
It was a mana drain. I don't know if it was foil. It might have been. I've pulled some fire out of the box we drafted. That was good.
God, I wish I recorded the videos. So me and my buddy, same thing. You can get some fire stuff in one single pack. Deflecting SWAT and extended art Ozolith. Single pack.
A good one.
I'm putting my money where that Ikoria collector boosters is. I still think, I just was doing some math. I think $28 a pack. Not fucking bad.
I agree with you. I don't say that at all. I'm all behind Ikoria. And I'll say it again. I said it with you before. That mutate mechanic, people. Wait for future shenanigans. Like that's it. It's gonna break shit.
Watch a Volo deck occur. That explains like how stupid mutate is. It 100%.
It's just I almost feel like they'll have to ban mutate at some point because they'll come up with a new mechanic that just that did that with mutate we didn't expect.
Yeah, my buddy made a mutate deck with Volo as the commander, and he quickly disassembled it because of first of all, how annoying it was to keep track of everything, and second of how insanely busted it was.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, mutate. So think about that. The only set with mutate,
currently.
But they do that. Like they tend not to reprint unique mechanics, and that's a dangerous mechanic to have in the first place. The last thing they want to do is break it even more. Right? It's like, ooh. To me, mutate's one of the strongest mechanics they've ever come up with.
Yeah. Oh, Nethroi. That's ridiculous. And
it's
to have Nethroi as a commander getting 10 power back. I mean, shit.
Yeah, my buddy plays a Nethroi deck with a bunch of like modular creatures. They're basically 0 power. So he plays a bunch of stuff like that are in the graveyard. They have 0 power, but when they hit the field, they don't.
Right.
So he gets like his entire graveyard onto the field all at once. Like it can be pretty good.
There's actually really dumb
hammer.
So most indestructibles are bad enough. You mutate on top of an indestructible. It just gets out of control.
One of the odd things, there's a card that has -13, and it reduces its power and toughness when it's in your graveyard based on your life total, I think it is.
Yeah, I vaguely remember what that is.
To give you a negative counter on Nethroi. So Nethroi says you get 10 power. This card's -20 in your graveyard. So you can now mathematically move 30 power from your graveyard because it's really broken.
I don't know what we're holding out on. Savannah Lion says we're holding out. If you're talking about cracking boxes, Nagana. This is a Nagana box. Here's another Nagana box.
Hey, we already opened a pack. Bob showed us that it's not worth it.
I opened a pack. You guys should be happy. I opened a pack on stream. I never open packs.
We got 5 Adventures of the Forgotten Realms unopened collector's boxes in my cart at TCG right now.
So okay, so he's going to manipulate it by buying all of them. You slut.
If I buy them all, they'll go up in price. They have to, right?
So I bought
I'll send an email to cardshop.live and Channel Fireball. Hey, I've got a bet. I need you guys to manipulate the market with your distributors a little bit.
So I can
not
get
that
a
you guys would
draft
ever
box.
do that, but in case you guys ever have that power to do it.
So that you can get a draft box. Yeah, not going to happen. Savannah Lion. Gaming Bob is not going to open any boxes here on the stream tonight.
No.
I can promise you.
I mean, we're already at 2 hours and 45 minutes. If we start opening boxes, this would be off the rail. I haven't even eaten at all today. One of these days.
Not all boxes are created equal. And if you want to figure that out on your own and do the math and create a spreadsheet, go to MTG Stocks and, just start looking at the boxes and then start asking yourself, why is this box outpacing all of its compatriots around it? Right. And you'll see that they're like clear outliers, right? That are just factors greater. And understand they were all released at about the same price, about $100 a box, except for the Masters products. So why are some boxes moving significantly faster than others around it?
Mm-hmm.
So again, I've started targeting the non-standard products. They seem to move faster than the standard products around them. They just do. They outpace the standard products dollar for dollar, pound for pound. But that's just the investor side. That doesn't mean that they're more playable than the other ones around them. This is not at all an endorsement of any kind saying that this is a more playable. I think some of the fantastic ones like Jumpstart is a fantastic way to play the game. Commander Legends Draft. I'm not going to keep beating that drum, but yes, I am. If you haven't got it, I'd say still go out and get it before it spikes. It's going to spike at some point. I think that's pretty much a no-brainer. Not financial advice, but you're going to regret it if you don't. I'm just telling you, FOMO. Get your positions now. I think, what are they now? About 110, 115? Somewhere in that ballpark?
Yeah. $1.15-ish shipped.
And we're not even talking like 3 months after going out of print?
Yeah. I mean, Commander Legends, Jumpstart, phenomenal products. Ikoria, great stuff. You've got to make sure you're shopping around getting the right stuff. You don't want to get into a huge position of AFR. I mean, even the collector boxes, that's a terrible buy. Friggin' dumb thing. But I mean,
I just ordered 2 right now.
Man, it's one of those things. Shop smart.
$350 for 2 collectors.
You're looking at singles, thinking about what's a price point on this going to be. I've got about 12 Mystic Remoras at this point. I'm getting them at $10 to $11. I see that personally going up towards 20. So I'm going to keep buying up until 15. Now that's one of those things.
Well, I wouldn't doubt that they put that either in a secret lair or a double masters style product.
I'd love to. I can't imagine that would really reduce the price on my investment.
It will. Mystic Remora is going to be a difficult one. I bought one because I need it. But that's a hot reprint that will faceplant when they do. But they did it to Goblin Bombardment. Tanked the shit out of that one. Goblin Bombardment was $7.
Sell. Pat, sell.
If anything, no, just the opposite. I'm going to keep buying on it. I got a feel for it. I don't think that cumulative upkeep is going to get reprinted anytime soon. People seem to really hate that. And that is really the only downside to that card. I love it.
The problem is you're buying them right now at their all-time peak, at least as far as the last year, from what I can see. Like they're going down in price, but like $10, $11.
Single cards, I tend to avoid talking about for any type of investment other than things like
you're getting near mints,
Diamond, Lion, but that's like my own crazy tinfoil hat. They're going to break that card at some point in the future, and it's 15 cents a piece. But that's my spec.
Which card?
I generally don't.
Which card?
Diamond Lion.
Oh, why?
Huh?
What? Why? I don't even know
What do you mean,
does.
why?
I remember that card being bad. Diamond, why?
Why? The only other card that has a very similar effect, do you know what it is? Lion's Eye Diamond.
Well, that makes sense.
Look up Lion's Eye Diamond.
How much?
First off,
you can get
much
more
is
copies
Diamond
for
Lion?
8 cents if you want.
What's that?
You could get more Diamond Eye Lions for 8 cents now.
Okay, cool. And now look up Lion's Eye Diamond.
Yeah, but isn't that reserved?
Did you look at the effect?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Well, they're different because one's a creature, one's just a straight artifact. One has 0 casting cost, one has 2. One has a turn that you have to wait to activate if you don't have haste abilities. But one is 8 cents, one is $600.
I feel like if they reprinted Lion's Eye Diamond, is it on the reserve list? Because if it is, if it got reprinted, it would be nothing. It would be worth like I don't know.
I disagree. The reason that it's $600 is because it's in broken decks. It's reserve list cards don't go that high just because they're reserve list. There's plenty of them that are like $1 or $2. There's lots of reserve list cards under $5.
Oh yeah, lots of garbage on there.
So it's $600 for a reason.
Mm.
But like I said, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me that one has such a similar effect that's $600 and one that does virtually the same thing that's 16 cents. Makes no sense. And if they can figure out a way that it works with another card, it just feels like it could get. The reason that Lion's Eye Diamond is so expensive is because there are busted combos with it. It feels like they have a key piece that's missing that makes Lion's Eye Diamond virtually the same thing as a Diamond Lion. You know, there's one piece missing, but when you have those cards in Magic that have that one piece missing, that takes this garbage card and turns it into a busted card, well, just wait till they print that piece.
I think there's a flaw in your logic. I mean, I don't know if the problem with Diamond's Eye Lion versus Lion Eye Diamond is Diamond Lion is a activated ability versus Lion's Eye Diamond being a mana ability, because a mana ability can be the way it can be you can use it because it's a mana ability. You can use it in response to any kind of split second or any stack abilities. So
all I'm saying is that they just need to print that missing piece that says activated abilities are considered mana ability, activated at the same speed as a mana ability. As soon as they come up with that card,
I would fix it.
That's what I'm saying is that you buy for the future
Sure.
on specking. That's what I'm doing. I'm not telling people to buy it. I'm saying that's why I looked at it going, people are poo-pooing on this, that it's almost like this $600 card. They're just missing a piece. And once they create that piece, oof, and they probably will do it for a different reason, hence busted. And now that it's a creature, makes it even more busted, you know, because it's slightly different, same effect. So anyways, there are, I think sealed is a far more solid way to invest in Magic, period.
Oh, they did change how LED works.
So, you know, there's something that you can do with sealed product that you can't do with open product. Can't draft with it.
You can't open it.
Can't really draft with it. We're trying to come up with that way. It's called Cube, but it's not the same. Never is the same.
It's really fun, though. I love Cube. I can't wait to play the Commander
it's
Legends
not,
Cube
but
whenever you're able to make it over.
It's just not the same thing as draft, period. It's not. In Cube, you have no element of the gambler's, hey, I just made money.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry. It's just not.
You know what's in there.
Well, but the problem is the only person that's having fun in that scenario where if it's their box, unless you all went in and you decide to split it or whatever. So there's one person that gets that excitement of whatever you guys open, I get, but everybody else is just kind of playing like the same as like Cube.
Just like Pat said, you know what's in the Cube. You don't know what's in the draft box.
Yeah, but it's still randomized enough to where it'll feel different every time.
Just
As long as you build the cube correctly, it feels completely different every time you draft it. I've played a Power 9 cube, and we've got a Ravnica cube, and every time we draft it, it's completely different. It's actually insane how big of a difference it is.
I agree with you. I'm just saying
there's no staples,
but it's
really.
something that you can do with a draft. You can't do. You can simulate it closely, but
and it's free. Well,
you
the initial
can't
investment
do it with a draft box
for itself.
So,
but yeah, the actual cracking pack certainly is hard to replicate.
Yeah.
The concept of sealed, there's just so many different factors to it that it just makes it superior to spending money on single cards as an investment, in my opinion. You have to pick the right card. Hope it never gets reprinted. Hope they don't reprint the reserve list.
Right.
There's so many different factors that go into buying single cards that it doesn't matter how many times they reprint something. This box is going to continue to go up because so many people cracked it. Same thing here.
Honestly, like things like Jeweled Lotus and the things that have like these super high price tags right now, I kind of want to sell because the moment it gets reprinted, it will drop in price pretty significantly.
But
the only reason Jeweled Lotus I think Jeweled Lotus is expensive only because it's pretty rare. As far as like, you only really need, I don't know. I only run Jeweled Lotus in like one of my decks, maybe two.
So Coach asked the question, anyone getting the recent Secret Lair? We answered that earlier, Coach, that no, I'm not.
No, nope. Big old pass on most of the recent releases off the SLD. They ain't for me. That's just how it is. Just gotta
I've only ever ordered one product from Secret Lair, and it's the only one to ever get delayed.
No, they've had many delays.
I'll just say, as far as I'm aware.
Seems to happen.
Happens a lot.
I did the flips commander decks or whatever. I ordered 2 of those and it got delayed.
I did buy 2 of the Street Fighter.
Oh, did you?
That was the last one. Well, besides the April lands, which was garbage. All the lands ones were garbage. The Zodiac card.
I hate all of the lands ones where they're like, you get 5 basic lands for $30. It's like, but like, can you give me like enough for a commander deck for $30? Like, they're basic lands, dude. Come on.
Oh,
hey, see ya.
But no, sealed I think is a safer investment in Magic if you're investing. But to Matt's point, it's tough to keep sealed if you like the game. So if you're not just an investor, there is that. Oh, man, I want to crack that Joker. And especially bad on that drunken night when you come home and your inhibitions are lowered and you're like, I feel like cracking something.
Yeah, that's one of the things watching Ed's channel is he'll get tips.
Oh, yeah.
Time to open up something old.
I gave him some shit on the round table this week about that. Like, whoops, sealed products in danger when Ed's tipsy. Let me just open this stronghold pack. Oh, no, I'm so cheap that I don't even open out of that mystery power box. Still have this invasion that I got that I'm not cracking. Not gonna happen.
One day.
Get cheaper to get them.
No, not one day. There's no reason to crack it. Why would I crack it?
Because why not?
Because it's sealed. Why not?
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do with it? Just look at it? Wow.
I'm gonna look at it.
Look how cool it is. So
I'm gonna call it
that.
Wow.
And the entire days of eating food and bicycling around when he's on vacation in Vietnam.
Man,
this is something fun.
Old packs. I look at them and I actually gain a different type of respect. That, man, you've made it 20 years. 20 years you've been in the wild. And nobody opened you. Good on you. You're special because nobody opened you.
And that's why you open it. You give it its due.
No. I remove its specialness.
Everybody else disrespected it.
You know what? That's what I'm going to make. I'm going to make a bumper sticker. Respect the rapper.
Respect the rapper.
Never open it. Don't use protection. That's how people construe it.
Respect the rapper, baby. That's the way you do it. And it, like I said, it hurt my feelings when. No, that's true. I don't have I do have some sealed video games, but only because I wasn't interested. No, all of my Star Wars toys got opened and I played with them.
Oh man, I had so many things from a childhood. If I would have kept, even just kept, not even unopened.
That's what I'm saying. And if they were sealed,
I don't even know where the shit went.
You could
I
retire
don't even
earlier.
care that it's sealed. There was just plenty of stuff that I had just when I was a kid that if I just kept. Why I got rid of it? Who knows?
Right, but what I'm saying is if it was sealed in the package, if you respected the wrapper, now you're talking.
I've never gotten all the joy and
10x
entertainment
factor
from playing with them.
I'm just saying the 10x factor of the cost is just insane. Anyways, I just think that sealed from an investment perspective is a safer investment.
Oh
than
yeah,
single
absolutely.
cards. I'm not saying that it's a better one. That I think cards can outpace sealed. Sure. But they can also outpace them in the negative direction. Sealed boxes almost never go down. Once they're out of print, they almost never go down. So even the shitty sets go up. They're not a great investment, but they go up if you hold on to them long enough.
Oh, damn, it's been 3 hours already.
Yeah.
It's just
I want to get off here. My throat's killing me.
Yeah.
I love talking to you guys, but I'm spent.
Yeah, me too. Well, hey guys, as always, this has been phenomenally fun. Glad to have had such a nice, lengthy, and fun conversation. We got some really good topics under our belts, covered a lot of spoilers, and as always, just had some very fun back and forth. So thank you both, and not just you guys, but everybody down in chat. Thanks, Coach, DK, Savannah Lions out there. You're a great support to the channels here. Cothern, really good to see you here. You know, everybody showing up. You're just such a lovely community here. Glad to have had such a fun time with everybody. Look to do this again soon.
Respect the rapper.
Respect the rapper.
Crack it all. Watch the world.